California, what's going on? Hour one, John and Jim, 72 hours out, technically 73, but who's counting? From the trade deadline, and we have a loaded show. Kevin AC will swing by. He's been on his 10-city tour. He's back in San Diego. He'll join us at 5:30. Annie Halpern, friend of the show, we were texting back and forth earlier today. Me and Annie.
Must be nice.
It was very clean. We weren't mentioning you at all.
No, of course not.
She will join us at 5 p.m. We will talk some San Diego State football and basketball. Sean Lewis, Aztecs head coach, with training camp about to open up. Fall camp for the Aztecs will join us at 4:30. And our summer series with San Diego State men's basketball continues with an emerging sophomore in Pharaoh Compton. The forward will join us at 3:30 today on John and Jim. Before we get into the Padres and the deadline and the wins over the weekend against St. Louis, we have a bit of news for our listeners and viewers. Now, it's good news.
It's good news.
We have been named for a third time since 2022 the Best of UT Readers Poll Best Sports Talk Show in San Diego. Thank you, listeners and viewers. This is, we've said since day one. I mean, this doesn't happen without you who have been with us, whether today's your first day or you've been with us since day one, whether you watch on YouTube or you listen live or you listen back in the podcast. It really is an honor, and we are truly appreciative of it. And I would say this, when we started the show about 3.5, 4 years ago, we're like, we're going to talk San Diego sports. If it works, it works. But we didn't want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys every single day or the Milwaukee Bucks. We wanted to center it around San Diego. We've done our hardest and damnedest to do that. And I think the viewers and the listeners have appreciated it, at least to some extent. So thank you to our listeners and our viewers for this incredible honor.
We're like the Chiefs. 3 of the last 4 years, we have been named the UT Readers Poll Best Sports Talk Show in San Diego.
The difference is we've won. The Chiefs have not won 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls.
Well, if you take last year's out, if you just take last year's Super Bowl out, they won 3 of 4, and they got their ass kicked. So probably next year might not be a good year for us. But no, as you said, thank you to all our listeners out there. We could not do this without you voting us the best sports talk radio show in San Diego for 2025. Was a pretty cool thing to wake up to yesterday morning. To be completely honest with you, didn't even realize that yesterday was the day that they were going to announce it. Kind of, we knew we were nominated.
Yep.
But we didn't know that yesterday was when they were going to announce it, because it's a long period of time before they announced these awards. And
the nomination process was in 2023,
right,
for the 2025 winners.
Yeah. So pretty cool. But thank you to all our listeners out there, and we hope we can continue to give you the best sports talk in San Diego.
That's right. According to the Union Tribune, and we'll have Annie Halpern from the UT with us.
Today's a good sports talk day.
The UT at 5:30 as well. If you have a favorite memory, by the way, listening to the show, we'll share it on air. If you want to text us, 70470, started with the word team, or if you want to use the TalkBack mic, open the app, search for 760, click that TalkBack mic red icon, and tell us your favorite memory from listening to the show, and we'll play that for you throughout the course of the next few hours.
Do you think we should go to our boss and restructure our contract for a nice 7-year, $256 million deal?
No, because here's what I said. I said, Mary, I want to restructure my deal. She's like, I was thinking the same thing. Whatever you're making, we're thinking about giving you less. I'm like, okay, we'll keep the deal that we have.
Oh, just kidding.
We'll keep the deal we have. All right. For the road trip for the Padres, honestly, is what everyone would have signed up for. It had highs and lows, but at the end of the day, it's 5-5. And to the Padres' credit, the way they salvaged it, it wasn't easy. They turned to Randy Vasquez and Stephen Kolek on Saturday and Sunday. Offense really did come to life. Yesterday, 16 hits, 9 runs. So they get the 5-5 trip. They actually are half game better, Jim, in the standings right now than they were in the wild card standings out of the All-Star break, 1 game up on Cincinnati. So a decent trip, a huge series against a surging New York Mets team that's won 7 straight.
Just swept the Giants.
And then all these trade rumors that are out there that we'll get into. But a big night for Dylan Cease. You mentioned is in your update, maybe his final time in a Padres uniform, maybe not. And a Padres team under A.J. Preller that seemingly has moves to make between now and Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific.
It was a fine road trip. I think Manny referred it as such. He said it was okay. It was like it was average. Like they could have had a worse off road trip, and they could have been better.
Yep.
Some of these games like Friday night or Thursday night, I think it was. Yeah, Thursday night against the Cardinals. They lost 9-7. Score 7 runs, you got to win those games, especially with this pitching. And, their offensive struggles in Miami losing those games. It could have been a better road trip, but it also could have been a worse road trip. And going into the weekend, you're like, can they win a game to just have a 4-6 trip? Well, they play some really, really good baseball on Saturday and Sunday. Yesterday's game was particularly good as far as, the offensive production they have. Manny Machado is scorching red hot right now. And I think a 5-5 road trip, as we talked about before the 10-game road trip started out of the All-Star break, if you go 5-5 and then you take 2 or 3 from the Mets here and you go into the trade deadline 9 games above 500, I would take that right now. Now, the thing is, not a problem, but the thing is, you are facing a red-hot Mets team. You aren't guaranteed 2 out of 3 against the Mets. And you got to continue to play consistent baseball, how you played for the last 2 games in St. Louis. Can you do that instead of this Jekyll and Hyde stuff where you one game are scoring 9 runs and the next 2-3 games, you're like struggling to score 3 runs at best?
Their offense is improving. I made this point last night on the wrap-up show. It's not a top offense, but it's hard to deny that the offense is not improving. Kevin had some of these numbers last night in his game recap, but they didn't score 7 or more runs for 28 consecutive games. And they did it 4 times on the road trip. Their batting average is up 30 points over their previous 42 games. So there's some things in there that are encouraging. Again, I don't think it's a top 10 offense, but I think it's probably better than the offense that it was over a month or two. And then we'll see what Preller is obviously able to do here moving forward. And I would say this as well. You're spot on with, if you take 2 out of 3, you're 9 over, you're right where you were a year ago. Shoot, Jim, you could lose 2 out of 3. Your season's not on the line against the New York Mets. You've positioned yourself to be in postseason contention, which means you've told your general manager, go make us better. He's not sitting there like, hey, man, if Cease gives me 6, I'm buying him. But if he gives me 4, I'm out. It's not as finite as that. It's not as particular as that. They've gotten to this point. They're a buyer. They're 8 games over 500.
Oh, they're
in playoff positioning. It doesn't matter if they win 2 out of 3. It doesn't matter if they lose 2 out of 3. He will be buying between now and Thursday at 3 p.m.
So the numbers you were referring to,
yep,
in their last 20 games from July 4th to today,
yep,
their batting average has significantly gotten better. They're batting .266 over that time as a team. That's 3rd best in baseball. Before that, from May 11th to July 2nd, they're hitting .226 as a team. That was 29th in baseball. That's great. Their on-base percentage in the last 20 games is .327 as a team. That's 5th best in baseball. Previously, before that, from May 11th to July 2nd, it was .297, which was 27th in baseball. Those numbers, awesome.
Yeah,
they have definitely increased. These are the numbers, though, that still need to get better.
Okay.
All right. And they've improved, and you'll hear the numbers. They've improved.
Slug, power, homers.
Yeah, slug, on base, or OPS, and then runs per game. So from May 11th to July 2nd, as Kevin put in his newsletter today, they had a slugging percentage of .345, worse in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
From July 4th to July 28th, it's gotten better. Still would want to see it to be better. .395, that's 20th in baseball. Okay. Their OPS as a team from May 11th to July 2nd was .642, 29th in baseball. Now, the last 20 games, .722, 18th in baseball. Here's the most important part, or the most stat, runs per game. All the other numbers are great, but if you're not scoring runs, it's going to be hard to win baseball games.
Well said.
From May 11th to July 2nd, 3.6 runs per game, which was 29th in baseball. The last 20 games.
I'll say up a run.
No. 3.7 runs per game.
Is that right?
26th in baseball. So they've gone
3.7 in the last 20?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they've gone from 3.65, if I'm adding the number, 3.65 runs per game from May 11th to July 2nd, which is 29th in baseball. And then in the last 20 games from July 4th to now, only 3.7 runs per game, which is 26th in baseball.
I would say that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that it would be so insignificant considering they've had more success on offense, but they're not scoring runs. I would say
runners in scoring position.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, yesterday they had 6 hits with runners in scoring position. And here's the thing that, I mean, there's no way to say, hey, you're just going to hit better with runners in scoring position, but there's reasons to believe they will. You want to know why? Because they've been awful. So, like, you're not going to hit worse than you've hit with runners in scoring position. And here's the other thing. They're adding a bat. Now, what impact does it make? Even if it's not overly significant, it could have some marginal impact. And maybe runs per game is like a lagging indicator, so to speak. I mean, you can't have higher on base and higher slugging and higher batting and expect the same result. And that's what's played out, I guess, over the last 20 games. But I'm encouraged by the offense not looking inept. Mm-hmm. Like, the offense has looked better. The pitching, I mean, imagine this. You've lost 4 consecutive games. You turn to Randy Vasquez and Stephen Kolek on the road, and they give you everything you could possibly ask for. You are on the ropes. You can't afford to lose 5 consecutive games or 6 consecutive games or 1-5 over those 6 games. And they don't, because of Vasquez, who gave them what he typically does, which is 4 or 5 innings. And then they don't because of Stephen Kolek, who gives them what he typically does, which is ground balls, and he gives you 4 or 5 innings and gives you an opportunity to win. So you're right. Pitching carries the day. Their pitching has been good. Their offense at least is improving. That combination makes AJ Preller a buyer coming up.
Won both of the Randy Vasquez starts on the road trip.
I think they're 14. How many starts has he made, Jim? I think they're 14-7 in his starts as a team. If he's made 21 starts.
He's made 21 starts.
Yeah, they're 14-7.
And he's only 3-4 because he doesn't go deep in the games.
He can't win because he doesn't go 5.
No, Adrian Morejon is picking up all his wins.
Exactly. The first guy in.
Yeah, Adrian Morejon, I think this year is
more
it 8-4?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 8-4 this year.
More wins than Vasquez and Cease combined.
Yep. And that's because Adrian Morejon, more often than not, is coming in the game in the 5th inning to replace Randy Vasquez, because they don't want to have Vasquez go 3 times through the order, which is very smart. It's a typical Randy Vasquez start. And I think they have developed kind of like a really good strategy and game plan.
Absolutely.
When Randy Vasquez is out there. But yeah, Randy Vasquez picked up, he didn't pick up, but the team picked up 2 wins in his starts on the road trips. Stephen Kolek yesterday pitched well enough, and the Padres offense took care of the job. But overall, I mean, yeah, there are things to complain about in this road trip, but there's some really positive things to look at in this road trip as well. And looking at the landscape of the wild card race right now, and the Giants are in a free fall. They just got swept by the Mets. Their offense is horrific. Arizona has said, yeah, we're waving the white flag. We're selling. And they've, lost a couple in their other 4 games under 500. The one team in the wild card race right now that's on your tail is the Cincinnati Reds. Do you believe in the Cincinnati Reds, John?
I mean, I believe in simple math, which is if you're only vying with one other team to make the postseason, which is what is going to ultimately play out, I take my chances. Because you could play up. You still could see a team come back to earth, and not the Mets the way they're playing right now. But out of the 5 teams in front of you, it's very realistic someone comes back towards you. And the other thing is Cincinnati going to continue to play like this? I mean, you're susceptible to the Reds doing what the Padres did last year. Like, if the Reds take off and go 19-9, you can't do anything about that. But I'll take my chances if you're basically competing with one other team at the end of July to make the postseason. Yeah. Like, I would feel good about that. All right, here's what we're going to do on the other side. We're going to hear from Dennis Lin, who had some interesting things to say about the Padres at the deadline, including Dylan Cease and Robert Suarez. Are they both staying? Are they both going? Or some combination between? Plus, the latest on Jarren Duran. Is he less likely or more likely to be moved heading into this final week before the trade deadline? We are here until 6 p.m. Kevin Acey at 5:30, Annie Halberin at 5. It's John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acey will join us at 5:30. Padres and Mets tonight. Game one of a series from Petco Park. Annie Halbrin's on the show. Sean Lewis, fall camp's opening Wednesday for San Diego State. He'll swing by at 4:30. Pharaoh Compton, the sophomore forward for the Aztecs men's basketball program, will join us at 3:30. All right, let's start here when it comes to the trade deadline. This is me paraphrasing. You can pull up the entirety of what Dennis Lin wrote today if you want. But Dennis Lin in a Q&A today talked about the likelihood of either Robert Suarez or Dylan Cease being moved. And I think the exact line he used was there's a pretty decent chance that either Cease or Suarez could be moved. They are the top candidates, and that they're looking to still add a starter and/or relief pitching. I don't know if you have it in its entirety, but that was basically paraphrasing. Cease and Suarez would be the top candidates to move, and that they're looking to add a starter and/or a reliever as well at the deadline.
Yeah, the main takeaway is Cease, you get a qualifying offer for draft pick compensation. He leaves, not going to get it for Suarez. Like, to me, those are the two players that are not the easiest to trade, but that could bring the most back. Because right now, if you look at the trade market, if those two players are truly in the trade market, and if Preller is truly shopping those two players, they're the best. It's the best closer and the best starter on the market. Like, I don't think there's any question about that right now. With Emmanuel Clase and his gambling stuff today being suspended, Robert Suarez has shot up to the #1 closer on the market. If he is truly being shopped by AJ Preller. And I think Dylan Cease, with the guy with like Seth Lugo signing a contract and staying with the Royals, Dylan Cease is also, to me, the best starter on the open market right now as well. So AJ does have some pretty valuable chips to play with. It's just, is he going to deploy those chips and try to cash in, or is he going to try to be creative in another way? I think still, if I were to choose a player, I would probably choose Dylan Cease over Robert Suarez. That's just my opinion. I think also tonight, by the way, is a massive, massive Cease start if AJ is truly looking to trade him. But I think Dylan Cease, you could get the most back for. Robert Suarez, a closer, you could get something back, but not as much as you would get for a starter, in my opinion.
So, okay, so this is ESPN.com at this hour. They list him as the third best starting pitcher on the market.
Behind who?
If any of these players are moved. Now, ESPN only has Dylan Cease as a 25% chance of being moved.
Okay.
Now, the players in front of him have lower odds of being moved. Mackenzie Gore, okay, who they would listen on per their new GM, and Joe Ryan of the Twins. Now, also Jeff Passan and Kyler McDaniel say that the haul for Ryan and Gore would be much more significant than Cease. They're not rentals. So the Cease rental, it's an interesting point, the qualifying offer. So not to get too in the weeds, if you just hold on to him and offer him a 1-year deal, the draft pick compensation, if you're AJ Preller, you have to ask yourself, do I prefer the draft pick long haul compensation, or do I like more what I could get right now? But the problem with getting maybe you could get more right now, but you're losing Dylan Cease, and you don't know about Michael King. He's pitching a sim game today. You don't know what he's going to look like. I don't care. He could have the greatest sim game since Yu Darvish's sim games. He could have the best sim game ever. You don't know what he's going to look like in September and October. And you don't know what Yu Darvish is going to look like in September and October as well. So there's a lot of risk with trading Dylan Cease. Your return better be worth it, as opposed to just wait it off, give him a 1-year deal. He says no. You get draft pick compensation, and both sides move on.
Would you want Dylan Cease back on a 1-year qualifying offer deal?
Well, he's not taking it. I mean, you offer the qualifying offer for the compensation. There's no world.
I know he's not taking it.
No world.
But what if that off chance he continues to have a bad season, and they're looking at his market and they're like, we need to probably, up your value here with a good year, so maybe you take the qualifying offer. I mean,
I think the reason, listen, I
know it's a Scott Boras client
for a year.
I get it.
But let me ask you this: even if you're Boras and you want to up his value, dude, like, let's do the math on it. The qualifying offer, I don't even know what it is, $20 million. We thought Cease might get 200, even if he got 100 guaranteed, as opposed to 20 guaranteed. You blow out your arm, you're costing yourself $80 million. So he's not going to be back. But I do wonder, like, what his return would be. I'm with you. He's one of the best starting pitchers available because now that Seth Lugo is off, yes, he's a rental. I think it's a real return. But again, don't you need starting pitching if you're AJ Preller? Like, you got all the answers on Michael King?
You need starting pitching, no doubt about it. I'm just like, how do you do all this? How is he going to do all this? Because last night we came up with the 5 needs for the Padres.
We did.
Not in any particular order. Starting pitching, relief help, catcher, right-handed bat, left field. Those are the 5 needs of this team.
Right.
And again, not in any particular order. I'm sure you can, judge for yourself which one is they need the most. But if he takes care of 2 of those 5 needs, with obviously the ones being that are most important, the right-handed bat and left field, or you could go right-handed bat and relief pitcher if you keep Cease. There's just so many different like options and ways that this could go. I'm very curious to see what he's going to do.
100%.
Because there's a very strong likelihood that he's not going to address every need with this team.
Like most teams, I completely agree. Yeah. I mean, I don't think everyone out of the deadline is going to be like head over heels, through the roof excited about what he was able to do. But I do think there's a good chance we're going to say the roster on the other side of the deadline looks better than the roster did before it, would be my guess. But I mean, I've used this analogy a lot, like this whole idea that he's got to get creative. To me, that means he might have to get like a little messy, and there's not some home run out there necessarily for AJ Preller. And that would include potentially Jarren Duran. We've got the latest on his market on the other side. Again, Kevin Acey with the latest at 5:30. Annie Halbrin will join us at 5. We've got you covered until 6 p.m. getting you ready for Padres and Mets tonight. We've got a giveaway for you as well. Don't go anywhere. The latest on the Jarren Duran market is next on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Dell Technologies. Padres return home after their 10-game road trip. They went 5-5 on the road trip. They start a 3-game series tonight with the New York Mets. Mets have won 7 in a row. They just swept the Giants up in the Bay Area. 6:40 first pitch tonight. Dylan Cease, in what might be his final start as a Padre, will be on the mound tonight for the Pods. One trade to report in baseball today. Old friend Chris Paddock was traded from the Twins to the Tigers. And finally, over the weekend, SDFC picked up 3 more points Saturday night with their 1-0 victory over Nashville. The new Dell AI PC with Intel Core Ultra helps you fast forward through busy work like editing images, summarizing meeting notes, and responding to Jim's long emails, leaving more time for you time. Get a new Dell AI PC starting at $749.99 at dell.com/AI-PC.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin AC later in the show at 5:30. Annie Halbrin from the UT at 5. Sean Lewis, fall camp opens Wednesday for the Aztecs at 4:30. Farrell Compton, San Diego State sophomore forward on the men's basketball team, will join us coming up at 3:30. So a really good show. We'll tell you about our giveaway coming up as well. Bob Nightingale's not the only one to report on Jarren Duran, and I'm not going to take Bob Nightingale's word, because if you do, you would be out a lot of words in your life.
But it's worth noting. It's worth reporting
that it was only yesterday where Bob Nightingale wrote the Red Sox have no plans to trade outfielder Jarren Duran, rejecting the Padres' offers and are more likely to move him this winter. So that's from Bob Nightingale, who covers the sport nationally. There was a report this weekend as well from Alex Spire, who covers the Red Sox for the Boston Globe, that the Padres did not, in fact, offer Ethan Salas and Dylan Cease for Jarren Duran. So it's a little bit of like he said, back and forth in that conversation. But the way I look at it right now, Jim, is I would be very surprised, not shocked, but I would be very surprised if the Padres landed Jarren Duran between right now and 72 hours from right now.
Okay, so if they did trade for Jarren Duran, you'd be very surprised. Okay. Yeah.
Don't you think that?
I think I'm with you there. I just don't think you can count AJ out from still trying to get Duran.
Right.
You know, he still's got less than 72 hours or about 72 hours to play with this thing here. So maybe in the final couple hours, AJ calls and tries to revisit
sweetens the
pot a little bit. Whatever offer he's made, we don't even really know if he's made an offer, but we know that he is quote enamored with Jarren Duran.
That's right.
That's the one thing I think we know for certain is he's enamored with this guy. That's the word that's being used.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if there's been like legitimate talks. We don't know if there's been names exchanged. We don't even know if there's been offers made. We just know that he likes this guy a lot. So I wouldn't count him out, even if you got these reports out that say Jarren Duran will not be traded at the deadline, because just last week we got the reports of this was the deal that AJ made, and we're all like, oh, that's for certain. And then a couple of days later, that never happened. So unless I see Jeff Passan or like the actual Red Sox say, hey, Jarren Duran is not being traded at the deadline, I still think there's a possibility that it could happen. I don't know if it's going to be 100% with the Padres. I know Heyman said if Duran were to be traded, the place that he would go would be the Padres. But I mean, anything can happen here in the next 72 hours.
I'm more and more confident he's not going to move after looking at his numbers. So I just looked at his July. In July, the Red Sox are 15-5.
They're one of the better teams in baseball right now.
He's a big reason why. He's hit 290. His on base is 388. His slug is 594. His OPS, on base plus slugging, is 982. He has 6 doubles, 3 triples, 3 home runs, and 16 RBIs in July. You're parting ways with that player on a team that's 15-5 in the last 20 games.
No, I agree.
It doesn't make any sense.
I agree. It didn't make sense from the jump.
But now that he's really looking like the player he was for more of 2024 and put it together for a team that is playing good baseball, it's just, To me, it's wishful. Now you might say, well, they traded Rafi Devers. You're right. But it seems like there were reasons behind the scenes that they wanted to move him. It was less about moving his production and more about moving this. Cancer is the wrong word, but about this player that might not have been working. I mean, a player that maybe didn't have the same, interest as the organization did. Right?
They were completely.
They weren't seeing eye to eye
on different pages.
Yeah, they weren't seeing eye to eye. But the thing with Jarren Duran is controllable on a good team, playing good baseball. You're going to have to offer everything and more, So I don't think that that's going to happen. And that's not the end all be all for AJ Preller. There's other, consolation prizes as well. And this goes back to a point you made last week. Even if you can land Duran, do you want to give up the farm, so to speak, for Duran or something less for a player that maybe isn't Duran's quality, but you're not giving up on everything to go get this one player?
Like Taylor Ward. Now, the Angels are, I don't think they're like going to make the postseason this year.
Right.
But if you need a right-handed bat, there's your right-handed bat that you're looking for on a team that maybe sells at the deadline, depending on what offers they get. I've been mentioning Adolis Garcia's name. The Rangers, Bruce Bochy, once again, like they've turned it around here in the second half, and they are right in the thick of it in a wild card chase in the American League. So maybe they don't sell at the deadline now. And this is what happens is teams wait off as long as possible to see if they're going to be contenders or not.
Right.
So if there are players that you are looking at, 3-4 weeks ago that were like, oh, for sure he's going to get moved. A lot can happen in 3 or 4 weeks. And some of those teams have turned their season around to where now they're probably like saying, we're not going to sell. I mean, at one point this season, it was like thought, oh, the Red Sox are going to sell everybody. This team is not it. And then they just, boom, completely turn their season around. Same with the Texas Rangers. You're like, oh, the Rangers stink. We saw them here at Petco Park. They're kind of just an average team. Boom, turn their season around.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So, that's why a lot of these teams wait off until the last moment to see if they're going to be true contenders or not. And I get it, because the Padres have done that in the past where they've waited till the last second to decide if they're going to be buyers or sellers. Thankfully, the Padres, I don't think, have to wait until the last moment. We know they're going to be buyers, like 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. But also it's weird because when we say that, there's also the reports and the likelihood of them also being sellers, quotation marks, as well. Sellers and buyers, which that's a weird place to be in.
I mean, Jeff Passan wrote about that very thing today, which is the simple question is this: does San Diego have enough to offer to make a big deal? And that's him talking about the quality of the system and the money. Now, he does write that the one fact about the money is that they went under the threshold last year, which means there's less penalties to go back over it here in 2025. But you're not going to address everything. Like he writes, left fielder, catcher, back end starter are the needs. So you're not going to be able to do it all. And he writes that they're already over the second CBT threshold. And he uses the C word, creative, which is in order to address these needs, he may have to consider. And he mentions all these guys. Cease. Okay. He talks about Suarez. By the way, Suarez is listed with a better chance to move than Cease at ESPN.com. Kyler McDaniel and Jeff Passan give Suarez a 50% chance of moving. Cease only a 25% chance of moving.
Do you agree with that?
I wouldn't move Robert Suarez. I wouldn't move Robert Suarez. I think you're asking for trouble. Honestly, if it was up to me, I'm not moving Cease or Suarez. But then again, I don't know how you deal with your needs. If it was up to me, I don't want to move Cease because I don't want to run out of starting pitching. And I don't want to move Suarez because I think a way to win is you have a 2-1 fourth inning lead in the postseason and just turn the ball over to those four dudes.
100%.
So that's why I don't want to trade either of them, truthfully.
We've mentioned this multiple times, and I've asked you this question. I've been thinking about it a lot. Like, is this team good enough to make the postseason? We've asked that question multiple times without any moves. And I think the answer is yes.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Are they good enough to win a World Series? I think that's TBD.
Right.
And
they'll be an underdog no matter what they do.
The more I look at this, John, yes, they'll be underdogs.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be hard to win the World Series.
Because, look, if they're the 6th seed, they got to play on the road.
Yeah, it's a hard path.
Every round.
There's good teams.
Yeah.
Right?
But have you looked at the National League lately?
I have looked at the National League. What about it?
Here's the thing with the National League, John. The Padres right now have 57 wins. Okay. The most wins in the National League right now is 62. You want to know how many teams have 62 wins, John?
1?
3.
3.
The Mets, the Brewers, and the Cubs. Dodgers have 61 and the Phillies have 60.
Okay.
It is wide open. There is not a dominant team in the National League. They are all bunched up together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Padres get hot over the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah, you're not playing a 114 win team.
Well, I was going to go with they get hot a little bit. They could go from a 6 seed to a 4 seed and be hosting, or not 4 seed. Yeah, they would be a 4 seed and they'd be hosting.
Well, why couldn't they, under that analogy, go from a 6 seed to a 1 seed? Saying there's nobody with more than 62 wins.
Well, because they're not overtaking the Dodgers.
But I mean, the Dodgers aren't even a team with 62 wins. I agree with you, but
I'm not going down that path.
But you're kind of, I get it. But you'll go down the path with they could be better than the Mets or the Phillies or the Cubs.
Well, I'm going down the path of like, there's not a dominant team in the National League from just like looking at all the teams' records here. Mm-hmm. And so maybe they don't need 7 moves to become a true contender for a World Series. Maybe they need like 1.
Yeah,
that would help them because they're bunched up. I would put them in this bunch right now of teams. Like, there's just not a dominant team in the National League. And with that being said, maybe they don't need 5 moves and be uber creative. And maybe they can stand pat a little bit and make 1 move for a right-handed bat. And then they have the dominant back end bullpen. You keep Cease. We'll see about Darvish and we'll see about King. But if those 2 guys return, maybe they are good enough. I don't know. That's just kind of like the landscape of the National League right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're not going to be the 1 seed, obviously, because that's going to take near perfect baseball.
And you're not overtaking the Dodgers.
But then again, what's the difference between being the 4 seed and the 6 seed? Okay, maybe a home series. You know, you're still talking about a 3-game series to move on.
Right, but the same thing as last year.
Which same thing as 2020 and 2022. I'm just saying, if your path, how all in are you when you know what your path is, which is you got to win a best of 3 series. Right now, the odds would suggest is a road team. You have to overcome 5 games, 4 games to be a home team in the wild card. I'm just saying, how much are you really willing to move to be a road wild card team?
There's 6 back in the loss column from the 4 seed.
So the most likely path is a 5 or 6 seed, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Yes. If you're 6 games back in the loss column.
What I'm going with is, even if you are a road team, take the road and the home out, like take that out of the equation here. It's a bunched up National League. It is a bunched up National League where at this moment in time, now things could change over the next 2 months, but at this moment in time, there is not a dominant team in the National League. And I don't care if they're on the road or at home. Like, you wouldn't be going up against a 100-win team like you did in 2022 on the road against the Mets. You'd be going up against a team that you're within 4 or 5 games of to end the season, potentially.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Again, their struggles have been against good teams. Some of their struggles have been on the road, but it is a fair point. There isn't a dominant team right now in the National League. All right, on the other side, we're going to stick with Major League Baseball, but switch gears to the impending CBA negotiation that's going to play out over the next year. What played out between Rob Manfred and Bryce Harper today. We'll get the reaction from John Heyman on the other side. At 3:30, Farrell Compton, San Diego State men's basketball forward, will join us. Kevin Acey's on the show at 5:30. Stay with us, John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acey at 5:30. Annie Halbrin at 5. Sean Lewis at 4:30. Aztecs men's basketball forward Farrell Compton at 3:30. So things are going well in the early CBA stances between Major League
everything's
Baseball,
great
between the owners and the players. This from Jeff Passan today. That is an exact sentence.
You can't say some word though.
Bryce Harper stood nose-to-nose with Rob Manfred during a meeting between the Major League Baseball commissioner and the team last week, telling him to GTFO,
get out
of our clubhouse, if Manfred wanted to talk about the potential implementation of a salary cap. Well, again, the current labor deal will end at the end of 2026. I've made this point. We'll hear from John Hamm. We can get his 2 cents on it.
You're not worried?
No, I'm definitely not. I mean, I'm not worried a year and a half before it's over, but I have made this point. Everyone always comes down hard on the owners. I'm not saying don't, but you got to point blame at the players too. The NFL's got a cap and a floor. NBA's got a cap and a floor. NHL has a cap and a floor. Don't tell me that Major League Baseball's players union is they're so smart. They've got it all figured out. This is what's great for the game when the other major American sports don't operate the same way. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's at least worthy of consideration. I'm a fan of a floor. I am a big time fan of a salary floor in sports, especially Major League Baseball. So, and I get it from the player's perspective. There's guys that make 30, 40, 50 million, $70 million a year in Major League Baseball. I'm just saying that a lot of people are going to put on the owners. You got to at least consider the fact that the players try to play a game that isn't played in the NFL and the NBA. They've gotten away with it for 4 decades. At some point, I do wonder if we're heading towards a baseball that has a cap, which in turn has a floor. And by the way, I think a floor is good for players.
I agree with the floor aspect of it. And I've said before, just give me a floor. I don't think there'll ever be a cap. But it's just, hypothetical here. If there is a floor, I'll just use a round number, 100 million. Each team has to spend at least 100 million on their payroll going forward here. What says a team just won't go the cheap way and give a player a, huge contract and then boom, that's it. That's all it is. Like they get
an advantage if you're going to spend 100 million.
There's not. But if they don't want to go out and then spend 30 million on multiple players, instead they just give one player a bunch of money and then they don't have to go out and they're not going to compete. I think to me, if you had the cap part of it, then the players, you wouldn't be giving a player this massive deal. And then the team's like, throws their hands up like, okay, well, we spent our money, like the Colorado Rockies. Like, oh, we got Chris Bryant in here for $220 million. We don't have to spend any more money.
I mean, but wouldn't you say the same in the NBA or the NFL? Because there's a floor. You don't have to be good. You just have to spend 90% of the cap.
Yeah,
and you don't have to be good. But why would if you're gonna spend money?
How many teams in the
NBA
not try
spend
money on bad players?
But at least they're spending. I mean, there's a cat and mouse game there. You're right. The exchanging of salaries. There's a game. Like right now, you mentioned $100 million as a floor. So
how many teams have not spent 100 million on their payroll this year?
10.
That's ridiculous.
10 haven't spent 100, but you could but 20 have. But I don't think that's not my concern, that if there's a floor, you'll just have a team writing a check to a player for a lot of money. Because if you're going to spend $100 million, why not try to spend it wisely? At the end of the day, $100 million is $100 million. I don't think you're just like, oh, here's some rando. Let me just pay him $300 million so we can reach the minimum. That wouldn't really be advantageous for the team. I'm all for a floor. I mean, I would put a floor in and then maybe in the future put a cap in. I'm honestly, dude, what's the problem with the cap? What is the problem with the cap? I mean, do people like the Dodgers running away and spending? Do you like Steve Cohen running away and spending? I don't.
You know who loves no cap? It's the players.
Yeah, especially the well-paid ones.
Yeah, here is Joel Sherman and John Heyman today talking about this incident that happened in a Phillies clubhouse with Bryce Harper and Rob Manfred.
John, you and I reported some major news this morning, Monday morning. Last Monday is part of his tour where he talks to every team over the course of the season. Rob Manfred was at Citizens Bank Ballpark. He was in the Philly clubhouse. And while he was giving his presentation, Bryce Harper, the biggest star on the Phillies, got up and in not very nice terms told him, if you're going to talk about the salary cap, get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's an interesting story. I think, this is going to be the issue. This is it. Salary cap is it a couple of years from now. And hopefully they work it out. Rob Manfred, they've always worked it out for 3 decades. They've figured it out. But, if this is any indication, we're off to a little bit of a rough start here. Not saying that this is the reason or whatever. I think behind the scenes, this is going on, and certainly the players seem very much against, at least the star players, the older players, seem very much against the idea of a salary cap. The union has fought against the salary cap for decades. They've been able to hold it off, and this is the big issue. I mean, MLB can call it whatever they want. That's what it is. They can say we're looking for a partnership or whatever. This is the issue. Are they going to get a salary cap for the teams? The other sports do have it. Baseball players have fended it off, and it has helped the players. I mean, look, Juan Soto's contract will pay him more than Tom Brady and LeBron James combined. So the players know this, and at least the older star players are very much against the cap, and it's going to be a battle. And I've always figured that MLB would figure it out, and they have since 95. We were around in 95. They've done it since 95, not in 95. This one looks rough.
Just remember this. Remember the last time we talked about this, and it went all the way up until the start of the year. They still played 162, whatever year that was, 22 or 23. Remember the Players Union had this executive committee with Scherzer, and they're like, turn this deal down.
It was 21.
Whatever year it was,
yeah.
Right? 21. Remember, they're like, and Scherzer and this 12-person committee was like, turn this deal down. This is a bad deal for the players. He told the union to turn it down. They passed it. Why? Because the lion's share of players don't make $30 million. They preferred a higher minimum. Remember, they raised the minimum up to $700,000 from $500,000.
Yeah.
So it's one thing for Bryce Harper to be like, I don't want a cap. And I'm sure a lot of players feel that same way. But when you're Ryan Bergert and you got a chance to go from $700K to $1 million in the next CBA, are you worried about the cap or are you worried about the floor? Because 9 out of 10 players are never going to make $40 million in a year. So again, it's one thing for Bryce Harper to say that. It's another thing for the players in the union. Again, 8 out of 10 of them are never going to make $10 million in a season. It's another thing for them to determine what's best for them.
I do think this has potential to get ugly. And
of course it'll get ugly.
And I guarantee you right now, next offseason, there are going to be so many reports of this has gotten ugly and I don't know if this can be salvaged and, the season's in real jeopardy, but, deadlines create action.
Yep.
And there will be deadlines. It's most likely going to be an awful offseason, with no transactions, no moves, no free agency, no trades, no winter meetings.
This is not this offseason, but
next
offseason after the 2026
season. Yeah, after next year.
Yeah.
And the offseason's probably going to be brutal. I'm already preparing for that. And I think all baseball fans should prepare for that as well. But I'm with you. I think there will be a season. I think there will be 162 games, and they're probably going to have to double up and play double headers and stuff potentially, but they're not going to have this thing go into the regular baseball year. They'll probably have a deal done. And then, there's 3 or 4 weeks left before the start of the season. And there's going to be a flurry of random moves, and it's going to be kind of a wonky 2027 year, but after the 2027 season, it will stabilize and get back to normal. That's my hope, because it would be such a baseball thing to finally have some traction in your sport. You are gaining viewers. You're starting to have a game that, the casual fan is like, oh, this is fun to watch again, come back to your sport, to just then have the rug pulled out underneath everybody and say, just kidding, we're having a lockout. That would be so baseball, and I hope that doesn't happen.
There'll be posturing, but ultimately, ultimately,
we're a
long way. We are a long way from that. And also we're a long way from a salary cap. But will there be some meeting in the middle? Yeah, because that's typically what happens in CBAs. And by the way, they've done 6, 7 CBAs since 1994, and those 6 or 7 have all gotten done. All right, on the other side, much more on the trade deadline, plus Farrell Compton, San Diego State men's basketball forward at 3:30. Sean Lewis head of fall camp at 4:30. Annie Halpern at 5 and Kevin Acey at 5:30. We're here until 6. John and Jim, stay with us.
All right, this update's brought to you by Dewey Pest and Termite Control. We'll start with the Padres. They returned home after their 10-game road trip where they went 5-5. They start a 3-game series tonight versus the New York Mets. Mets have won 7 in a row. They just swept the Giants up in the Bay Area. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease in what may be his final start in a Padres uniform will start tonight for the Pods. One trade to report in baseball. Old friend Chris Paddock was traded from the Twins to the Tigers. Actually, this just came down moments ago. The Brewers are working to finalize a deal to acquire catcher Denny Jensen from the Tampa Bay Rays, according to Jeff Passan there. And SDFC picked up 3 points Saturday night with their 1-0 victory over Nashville. Got annoying mosquitoes? How about roaches, ants, or creepy spiders? Turn the Dewey Pest and Termite Control, family run for 96 years. Book your free inspection and radio discount at deweypest.com. That's deweypest.com.
Under the arch.
The air to left field struck pretty well. Burleson going back, looking up, it's gone. Xander Bogaerts connects on his 7th home run of the year. Padres get a run back. It's 8-2.
A split for Mike Schilt and the boys. Now it's back home to face the Mets.
Plus, the MLB trade deadline is Thursday.
Buying or selling? Full speculation and a preview of the series with John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of John and Jim. We've got you covered. Trade deadline is now officially 72 hours away. The deadline will be 3 p.m. Pacific on Thursday. Of course, we've got you covered all week long on John and Jim. Also on the wrap-up show. Now, we're giving away a pair of tickets to see Blues Traveler with Gin Blossoms. We'll do that coming up. That's August 16th, and that'll be at Gallagher Square, Petco Park. We'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour. Great guest today. Farrell Compton, San Diego State forward. Sean Lewis, Aztec football head coach at 4:30. Annie Halbern at 5. Kevin Acey at 5:30. So, listen, any catching addition for the Padres will seemingly be an upgrade offensively in terms of what they've had to this point. The catcher that the Brewers just acquired from the Rays, Danny Jansen, has hit 200 this year. But when you look at what catchers do around baseball, it is what it is. Now, his OPS is good at 700, but this is the type of catcher that probably does make the Padres a better team. This is the type of player that the Brewers have just acquired. Doesn't close the door on catching, but we've heard some insiders say that the catching market is not a strong one. I mean, you look at the top 50 players to move potentially at the deadline at ESPN.com, 0 catchers are on that list. So one of them comes off the board. Again, he's hitting 204. It's a 703 OPS. I mean, there's nothing out of this world like from Danny Jansen, but the Brewers have acquired him. We'll see if the Padres ultimately add a catcher because it has been a true area of need all season long.
And because that, I actually don't think they're going to go out and get a catcher.
Because it's a depressed market. There's not a lot of good options.
If it was Sean Murphy, 100%.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like the Braves are trading Sean Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Adley Rutschman
From Baltimore.
Okay. I could definitely go for that and replace either Maldonado or Diaz. But other than that, what else is out there? Like on the catching market that is available. There might be a couple catchers that I can't think of right now, but if the top catchers that would be on the market, if the team we're selling aren't, then there's no huge upgrade out there. It's kind of just like the same. And with how much Schilt values his catching tandem, unless they get a massive upgrade, I don't think that they're going to trade for a catcher. I think that what ultimately they're going to do is trade for a bat and a pitcher. I don't know if it's going to be a starting pitcher or a reliever, but I think they're going to get at least a bat and at least a pitcher. And then hopefully, 1 or 2 more pieces to round out the rest of the roster. But for sure, a bat and a pitcher, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I could be convinced of what you're saying, that maybe it's not a good market for catching and maybe the upgrade isn't overly significant, although they really have been worn down, obviously, offensively by their catching tandem. The other thing that's playing out at this hour is Michael King is throwing a sim game at Petco Park. And for the first time since Trenton Brooks homered at Dodger Stadium, he has homered. Mm-hmm. Trenton Brooks has homered in a sim game. of Michael King. Maybe he can do that in a real game.
Wait, hold on. Say that again.
Trenton Brooks is homered in a sim game of Michael King.
That's not good news for Michael King.
It's not, but these have no relevancy. He could go, if they told me he was 9 up and 9 down with 9 strikeouts, I wouldn't be like, bring him back.
Yeah.
And if they told me he gave up 9 hits today, I wouldn't be like, he's washed.
Yeah, but also the worst player in your team just hit a bomb off you.
He hasn't pitched in how long now? He's just back out there.
I know.
I don't know what comes next. Maybe we'll find out when Mike Schultz speaks with the media later on this afternoon. But if there's good news here today, it's that Michael King is back at the mound. He's throwing 3 quote unquote innings in a sim game this afternoon. And to me, he's a huge part of the deadline because you got to have a good feel for where Michael King is if you're the general manager in the front office. And King is working his way back, but man, it's been a while, dude. Like we have not. Michael King, I think, has only made 10 starts this year.
I was in Hawaii the last time. Well, no, he didn't pitch while I was in Hawaii, but he was scheduled to pitch while I was in Hawaii.
The last time he's thrown was May 18th, and of course, August is just days away. So he's going to be 10 weeks between starts, and he's not coming back August 1st. So he's going to be 12 plus weeks removed. How do you have a good feel for where Michael King is? What does that mean for the rest of this rotation? The other thing is Yu Darvish is not guaranteed to make his start on turn. The Padres have listed TBA as the starter Tuesday, TBA as the projected starter on Wednesday. We don't know what's next for Yu Darvish in the coming days.
Well, as you say that, Jeff Sanders just moments ago tweeting out that Yu Darvish is fully dressed and headed to the bullpen. Seems like that puts him in line for Wednesday's start.
Okay, Wednesday. He was on turn for Tuesday, so they give him one additional day, which is no big deal at all. But Yu Darvish may be getting one additional day. I think I read within the last hour, Ryan Bergert is in the Padres clubhouse. Bergert has given this team some quality innings this year. Young prospect, right? Mm-hmm. In the organization. So maybe it's Bergert Tuesday and then Darvish Wednesday. It's a big start for Darvish on Wednesday. Also, you talk about a big start for Cease. What if Darvish goes out there Wednesday and goes 3 innings the last 5 runs? And then you're AJ Preller. And you still have 24 hours until the trade deadline. Then you're thinking about Yu Darvish and your rotation.
It's a huge week for the Padres, I would say. It's a huge week for multiple reasons. For a multitude.
I agree.
Multitude.
Yes. You're right.
Tonight with Cease.
Yep.
His start, it's a big one.
It is. I agree.
It's a big start. Yu Darvish.
Yep.
Whenever he gets back on the mound. Michael King's sim game, how he feels after that. Oh, and that little thing called the trade deadline.
Just that. Yeah.
So all of those things are happening this week.
Right.
And it could, shape the rest of their season.
Completely.
With the trade deadline, how Yu Darvish looks when he's back out there on a mound, how Michael King feels after his sim game today, and if Cease is on this roster or not after Thursday. And if he is he going to pitch better for the rest of the season or be the pitcher that he's been for the entirety of the year, which is very, very average at best?
Huge weekend. Oh, by the way, against the New York Mets, a team that you might face in the postseason, a bit of a measuring stick in the second half of the year, a team that's won 7 straight. I mean, these are the teams you have to beat. You can't just lose to all the good teams and then be like, well, we're going to beat them in the postseason, right? When you go 2-5 against the Dodgers in the regular season, and you're going to have to beat good teams, and they haven't done it to the extent you'd want against the lesser teams. They played well. Now let's see if they can do it against the better teams. This has been a better team at home. Like there are sizable home road splits that have emerged for the Padres. They've been a much better home team. Let's see if that plays out over the next week against the Mets and then after the deadline against the Cardinals, who we just saw.
31-18 at home.
Much better at home.
But they did start the year 11-0 at home.
It's a factor, but there's still much. What's the record on the road?
26-31.
Yeah, so that's not very good.
Nope.
That's really not. But at home, you're right. They started 11-0, but 31-18 is elite baseball.
And then the concerning number is their record against teams over 500, 22-34. Now that's a moving goalpost a lot because some teams could end up, that have losing records right now that they beat could become teams over 500, and it makes their record look better against teams over 500. But 22-34 against winning teams this year, not great, because if you look at the rest of the National League that's in the postseason right now, every team has a pretty solid record against teams over 500. I think that the team in the National League with the second worst record against teams over 500, ironically, is the Dodgers. They're 25-29 against teams over 500.
That's interesting.
They just clean up against bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
But, Chicago's only 31-30 against teams over 500. The Brewers have the best record against teams over 500 at 33-23. Mets are 29-21. And Phillies 29-29.
I mean, it's hard to be great against good teams, hence the fact that they are good teams. And that's why, like, when you're playing like the Brewers or the Mets against good teams, I mean, maybe that's an indicator. Here's what I would say. Third of the season to play, and there's basically a month where you're playing good teams.
Yeah.
And there's a month where you're playing bad teams.
Essentially.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And honestly, you could even argue that that's a moving target. The Giants 1 month looked good. Another month, they don't look good. You see the Giants a lot. The Dodgers 1 month have looked good. Another month, I mean, in July, I think the Dodgers, someone could pull it up. They have a losing record in the month of July. Now, you're not facing them in July.
Right.
You're going to face them in the middle of August. They're going to make upgrades like hopefully the Padres will make upgrades. But it's all moving targets. When do you play someone, right? That's as much of a factor as anything. And the Padres are taking on a Mets team that's won 7 straight. I mean, does that continue or do they cool off? We'll find out.
The Giants are dangerously close to becoming a team under 500.
Right.
So that record could change.
Mm-hmm.
They're only 2 games above 500 right now. They have had an awful start to their second half. So, yeah, those things can change. But against the top teams in the National League, like the Cubs, the Brewers, the Dodgers, Phillies, and now the Mets tonight, I'm concerned about how the Padres have played against those teams. And this year so far, not the best. Dodgers, they're 2-5 against the Dodgers. Did they win? They won a series against Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, I don't think they did.
I don't remember.
Yeah, now you're asking me to remember things that happened maybe months ago. Milwaukee, they did win a series against Milwaukee. So that's a good thing. They won a series at home against the Phillies. That's a good thing. Dodgers, talked about that. Not great. And then Chicago, they took a 3-game series from Chicago. So they've won a series against Chicago. They've won a series against the Brewers. They've won a series against the Phillies. They've also lost a series against Chicago. And then they play the Dodgers, a couple more series in August. And we'll see what they do tonight against the Mets.
And by the way, the return of who? Juan Soto to Petco Park here tonight for the New York Mets. We'll get into that on the other side. Plus, we'll switch gears. Farrell Compton entering his sophomore season on the Mesa. San Diego State forward at 3:30. Sean Lewis at 4:30. Then back to the Padres, of course. Kevin Acey's on the show at 5:30. Annie Halbrin at 5 p.m. We've got you covered with the trade deadline approaching on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Farrah Compton will join us in 10 minutes. San Diego State forward. Summer practice well underway on the Mesa. Sean Lewis, Aztecs football coach at 4:30. Annie Halburn at 5. Kevin Acey at 5:30. The iHeartRadio Music Festival back. Live performances by The Offspring, Tim McGraw, and more. September 19th and 20th, T-Mobile in Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Buy tickets at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out. We appreciate you guys. If you missed it earlier, we were named the best sports talk show in San Diego for a third time, believe it or not, since 2022. Yay. So we appreciate you. We're going to put a video on social media with some outtakes because we're idiots when it comes to that stuff.
Well, you don't have to announce that.
Why? You're going to put the outtakes on social media.
I was just going to make a video and put it on social media, thanking all of our great listeners.
But with the outtakes, right?
Potentially.
All right. Well, anyway, thank you all seriously for being with us, whether it's your first day here or you've been with us since day one. We truly do appreciate you. So the Padres are getting ready for the Mets, right? And Juan Soto has put together quietly, I think it is somewhat quietly, he's put together a damn good year.
But his defense, John,
dude,
he's not a good right fielder. He can't run the bases well. He's not a good defensive player.
You know what he's doing, though? He's becoming the player that Padres fans wanted him to be. And the reason I say that is it's not because of his batting average. It's because of his sheer power. He's hitting .252, but his on-base percentage because of the walks is .387.
Yeah.
His slug is awesome, .496.
Mm-hmm.
Like a significant slug. His OPS is .883, and that's below his career OPS, but 25 home runs, 62 RBIs, 14 steals, and 74 runs scored. Again, he's making crazy money.
Right.
You only justify it by winning World Series.
To be honest with you, probably should have better numbers.
Yes, 100%. But I mean, we saw Juan Soto. To expect more than this, Citi Field is not the best hitting yard in baseball. For him to be pacing for, let's say, 39 home runs and 100 RBIs and 20 steals and a .885 OPS, like that's a damn good player. Again, is it worth $700 million? That's a whole nother conversation, but
it's not.
He's put together a really good year.
Yeah, he is still a feared hitter. One of the most feared hitters in baseball still, I would say.
Still, he's 26.
It's ridiculous.
26.
I know. Yeah, it's incredible.
Years old.
26 years old. He's not
he was
been
born
in the big
26 years ago.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. And the Mets are one of the best teams in the National League, one of the best teams in baseball. Yep. They have been red hot. They've won 7 in a row. They just swept the Giants in the Bay Area. I'm trying to pull up their last 7 games here. This would freaking work. Yeah, you look at their schedule out of the break. They, Angels, whatever, but they swept the Angels and they swept the Giants and they took the final game of the Cincinnati series at home. So that's 7 in a row, and they finish up their road trip here against the Padres. It's good, like you said, it's a good measuring stick tonight for the Padres, and it's a good opportunity to once again go out and play a good team and hopefully play well against a good team, because that was a big emphasis to end the first half is, hey, we need to be better against teams over 500. That's what Kevin told us, that they had this meeting. It wasn't like a emergency team meeting. It was
they didn't flip tables.
No, it's a meeting they have on a regular basis as a team. But the emphasis of this everyday regular meeting was, hey, we got to play better against good teams. And we got a good team coming up here into Petco Park and the Phillies, and we need to play better, because if we don't play better against good teams, there's going to be a problem. Even if we do make the postseason, we're going to play good teams for the rest of the year, or for the rest of the time if we make the postseason. So it's got to start now. We can't lollygag here and just be like, oh, we're going to beat up on bad teams and whatever against the good teams. Like, no, play good against everybody. So hopefully they continue that tonight, because the last, they played the Cardinals. The Cardinals were a winning team. They took, split the series. But the last time they played a legit winning team was the Phillies, and they took 2 or 3, and they played actually pretty good baseball here at home.
Yeah, and they'll get the Cardinals again, and we haven't even talked about it. I mean, the Padres may be awoken by John Jay over the weekend, the Cardinals coach from Miami that Machado used to be friends with, and they're now basically mortal enemies. And I don't think Machado necessarily needed that. Machado's put together a great year, but maybe the Padres needed it. The Padres did win each of the last 2 games. We'll see if they can make it 3 straight tonight against the New York Mets. We'll get to Dave on the other side because we have Farrell Compton is going to join us in a few minutes. San Diego State's rising sophomore coming off that freshman year on the Mesa. Looking forward to catching up with Farrell Compton on John and Jim. So he will join us on the other side. Sean Lewis spoke with the media earlier today. Fall camp will get underway for the Aztecs football team on Wednesday. Sean will join us at 4:30. And of course, we got you fully covered with the trade deadline coming up. Annie Halburn from the UT, friend of the show, will join us at 5. Kevin Acee with the latest on the deadline will join us at 5:30. But we'll take a time out because Farrell Compton from San Diego State men's basketball will join us. We're continuing a summer series talking Aztecs hoops. We'll do it with the sophomore, the forward, Farrell Compton. He will join us next. This is John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it is John and Jim for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place, and now open. The hotel and spa at Jamul Casino Resort. The next level of luxury has arrived. Treat yourself to a stunning new stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, and all the thrills of Jamul Casino Resort. Now all in one unforgettable destination.
And join them for Thursday drawings with a guaranteed $30,000 in cash prizes. Earn entries daily for your chance to win. Plus, stay for the excitement of Latin night afterwards, Thursday, August 7th, 7 p.m. to midnight.
Also tonight, the final Monday Night Live of July. Big deal. 10 winners every hour tonight, 7, 8, 9 p.m. Onyx players receive an extra $100 cash bonus on top of their winnings. Plus, earn entries all month, 2 times the entries on Tuesdays, with at least $500 cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $50,000 in the big deal game. It's a promotion you're not going to want to miss at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
All right, this update's brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres return home after their 10-game road trip to start a 3-game series with the Mets starting tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease, in what may be his final start in a Padres uniform, will start tonight for the Padres. One trade to report in baseball of significance. The Padres' old friend, Chris Paddock, was traded from the Twins to the Tigers. And SDFC over the weekend picked up 3 points Saturday night with their 1-0 victory over Nashville. Rebate funds are running out fast. Don't get left behind. At Anderson Plumbing, they're buying back your old water heater and giving you $500 in instant savings. Call Anderson PHA today. Nobody wows clients like they do.
All right, let's talk some Aztecs hoops. We've been talking about it the last week or so. We've had Dave Velasquez and JD Luster with us. We're continuing our summer series. Great to catch up with rising sophomore Pharaoh Compton with summer practice well underway. First of all, Pharaoh, we appreciate you hopping on, and thanks for taking time for us.
Thanks for having me. I just want to say that first. Can't wait to get into this interview.
All right, so we appreciate you taking time for us. Let's just start with your offseason. Coming off your true freshman season, what went into your decision this offseason to just kind of transform everything, including your body? You've gotten leaner, faster, stronger. What went into that decision, and how is it playing out?
Most definitely trying to take a different approach all around. But I think starting with my weight and my body, just want to thank like Marsh first off. Like I think it starts in the weight room. Not like skipping reps and just putting your work in every day. If you start there and then going on to your diet, make sure you're eating the right foods, I think it's all gonna end up, coming back to you in the right ways.
So how's summer practice going, and how does the team look so far, and how does it compare to last year's team at the start of the season at this point last year?
Practice it's been going pretty well. I think we're trying to make the most of every day that we're out there. And I would say the difference this year, I think we're getting through everything much faster. I can say we're able to play more and just being able to get through our sets now more early on than in the summertime, just get ready to play for the season.
Pharaoh Compton with us right now, San Diego State rising sophomore forward, coming off that true freshman year in which he helped lead San Diego State to the NCAA tournament. With us right now, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Pharaoh, for you personally, when it comes to your game, your basketball game, what have you been working on most since the season came to an end last year in the NCAA tournament?
I'll say one thing has definitely been my free throws. Every day I make sure that I make my free throws, do my feed before I can leave the gym, make free throws, and my jump shot. My jump shot is one thing that I've been making sure I'm working on with, myself, if not the coaches as well. And I'm looking forward to, stretching the floor a little bit this year.
How would you describe your first year in an Aztec uniform? Like how did it go for you, and what were some things that were a little challenging from last year that you hope to improve on this year?
That's a good question. I think it was solid. There are a lot of things defensively and rebounding wise I think I got to get better at, and just being relentless on the glass. That's the one thing that I can't hold off on. I got to be selfish. Rebounding wise, I think that's just one big step I got to take this next year.
Pharaoh Compton with us right now on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Again, coming off his true freshman season on the Mesa and back for a year or two. As you know, Pharaoh, this isn't anything new for you. I mean, this is such a deep team. How do you see your role evolving with this group heading into the upcoming year?
I would definitely see myself coming into a more, I would say defensive and offensive role. I think both sides of the floor, I'm trying to just make the most of, whatever time I get. I think when I'm out there, I'm going to try to have a great plus minus, hopefully leaving myself out there on the court and staying for longer. I think it's going to be a big year for me, and people should expect a lot out of me.
Was there a moment last year for you specifically that was like a, oh, this is not high school anymore. Like a moment that like, oh, this is college basketball now. Did you have a moment last year that you thought that like that stood out to you?
I would say, going to practice or probably my first game in Viejas. That was a different moment for me. Even though we didn't play like the same D1 competition, I would still say that is still like a eye-opening experience and moment that will definitely make me like I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Pharaoh Compton with us right now on John and Jim. Pharaoh, I always go back to, a lot of Aztec fans would say that, hey, one of the reasons why the Aztecs got to the NCAA tournament was that win in Las Vegas over the University of Houston, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which ended up being one of the best teams in America. In that game, you were just sensational. I mean, it was only maybe your fourth, fifth, sixth college game. You played over 20 minutes. You scored 13 points. You impacted the game at both ends. What did you learn about yourself? And what did you kind of show yourself and your teammates in that game last November?
I would just say I have a sort of physical toughness about myself that a lot of people can't say they have, or like a sort of grit that, that just sort of comes with being a dog. And I don't know, that is me. And that one of those games that you can just go out there and kind of play, I would say with a chip on your shoulder, but you can play a little more physical than a lot more games. And I really thrive in that environment. And I'm really looking forward to do that again next season, but being able to control that more, throughout the games.
You guys have some crazy depth on this team, and we've gone over this team. And on paper, you guys could go 12 deep here. In practice so far, how is that depth looking to you? And do you feel like this team's depth is going to be a major strength of your guys' team this year?
Oh, no, that's the one thing the Aztecs fans can definitely look forward to. I think from me to Taj to Reese to Goon, Bird, that's really people who are coming back from last year. We're just such a deep squad. I can't even wait to get out there because we're gonna have so many different angles to hit people with. It's gonna be so fun.
3 months out, San Diego State men's basketball. Pharaoh Compton with us right now. Aztecs rising sophomore forward. So for our listeners, Pharaoh, they might not be as familiar, but can you take us through? You've had a long relationship with Taj DeGorville, obviously teammates at San Diego State, but teammates previously as well, coming up in Las Vegas, Nevada. How special, is that bond between the two of you, and how does that play out when you're on the floor together?
No, most definitely being able to share the floor with Taj, even every day in practice, I would just say it's a blessing. Just having somebody next to you that, has been through so many games with you already, coming into college so far, it kind of gives you an advantage, I would say, over the opponents, because they kind of really don't expect you to know where the other guy is, but you play with each other for so long that you kind of do have that edge over the opponents.
Have you guys talked about team goals this year? And if so, are they as high as they possibly can be? If you can share that with us and all fans out there.
I'm a winner. I like winning. I want to win. So winning the Mountain West Championship and hopefully winning a national championship is on the list for us this year.
There's no doubt. Everyone's got high expectations, whether it's the players,
sure.
the coaching staff, the fan base. Final one for me, Pharaoh, would be just what does it take? It's one thing to be good around the rim. It's another thing to be how you are around the rim on offense. You get within 3 to 5 feet. You're a threat to slam from anywhere. What does it take to go from being good to great around the rim? Because for you, it just seems like it comes inherently. You're just gifted around the rim.
Oh, first of all, it's a thank you. That's a compliment. I would just say it's a mindset. Not only it takes a lot of work, finishing and having a lot of touch, but it's definitely a mindset. It's you want to go up as strong as you can, as hard as you can every time, and honestly, you don't really care about who's in front of you around the rim as long as you can put the ball in the basket. I don't think no one can really stop me personally, but I think it is a mindset.
Do you have a favorite dunk from last year that you can remember?
Oh, okay. I think I do. I definitely do. I would say it's the one from the New Mexico game. If not, it would be the one from Boise. the third time we played them.
I'm trying to remember, Fair, was the New Mexico dunk, correct me if I'm wrong, was it like a breakaway slam? Is that how it played out or not?
I'm pretty sure I did take that. I took it coast to coast.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
Like, wow, look at this.
Like, okay, that's exciting.
We're excited for you, Fair. We're really pumped, obviously. I mean, it's the home of the Aztecs, and we've been out there, obviously, to watch you a couple of times this summer. We're excited to get this season underway, and we appreciate you taking a few minutes for us. We'll definitely do it once the season gets underway, but thanks again for taking time. Continued successes this summer, and we'll see you out there at the Jam coming up in the next couple of weeks, all right?
No, yes, sir. Thank you for having me again. Can't wait to see you guys in the Jam here coming soon.
Awesome stuff. Farrell Compton, just a promising young player on Brian Dutcher's team, and there's a number of them, but it's just as bright of a future as you can imagine. I mean, imagine scoring 13 points in 21 minutes against Houston in Vegas, and Houston is playing for a national championship like 3 months later.
Mm-hmm.
True freshman, lead San Diego State. He was a big reason why the Aztecs won that game against the University of Houston. It was like his 5th college game.
So I'm looking for this dunk right now.
Do you remember that dunk?
I vaguely remember it. It was a breakaway, right?
I remember it being some crazy, thunderous breakaway Viejas Arena dunk in the second half of the year.
I want to find.
We're
gonna
pull that up at the break.
We are.
We need to find that.
It was at home, right?
It was definitely at home.
Definitely at home.
They lost in Albuquerque. They avenged it at home later in the year. So I think it was definitely at home. I remember February.
He had a couple last year where you're like, okay,
100%.
This is new and exciting.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking to him. I'm really well spoken. Looking forward to seeing him during his sophomore season on the Mesa. All right, we'll get to Is That Good on the other side, the best and worst of the sports weekend. We'll search for that dunk as well. Coming up at 4:30, Sean Lewis, San Diego State's football coach. Then at 5 p.m., Annie Halbrin. At 5:30, Kevin Acey. This is John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, so we found the dunk. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We just had Aztec sophomore Pharaoh Compton on the show. And he's like, yeah, I think one of my favorite dunks was this New Mexico game. And I'm like, it just brought memories to my head. I'm like, he basically went, because we're watching on replay, he went like 70 feet. And
it was a 1-on-4
and just stuffed it with the left hand.
Well, he was dribbling and then he made a move where he took the ball like over the defender.
Yeah.
He dunks it and then he makes like I should have asked him what he was doing there, but he takes his jersey and like, starts flexing the jersey.
Yeah.
Like that was an epic dunk. And at home,
really was.
Being at home, like
he had a very good team. New Mexico last year was really good.
Yep. And that was after the loss to New Mexico earlier that season.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You see the ref there, like, calm down.
Yeah. It was a cool moment.
Yeah.
Really
that was definitely, that was the dunk. Like had to like come back to me a little bit. And I'm sure some fans out there probably are like, wait, that dunk was, and then you watch it again and you completely, like, I remember that dunk 100%.
I'm going to retweet it at the next break because it was epic. And if you were there, you'll remember it.
Yep.
All right. Dave's been very patient. Has anything happened with the trade deadline in the last 15 minutes? Is there Pharaoh on the show? Okay.
I don't think so.
Let's go to Dave on line 1-877-767-4760 if you want to weigh in on the deadline, Padres, Mets, Aztecs basketball or football. 877-767-4760. Dave, you're back with us on John and Jim. Thanks for calling in.
Well, thanks once again, guys, for having me and all the others. I wanted to, first of all, congratulate both of you on your prestigious awards.
Oh, thank you.
And, and it's all good. And it's a tough business. I have a lot of respect and admiration for you guys because we all know that radio is like walking on quicksand every day.
What are you talking about?
So,
it's just, it could be fickle.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
So anyway, getting back to our beloved Padres, I've just come to the realization this year that, every time you think that these guys are dead and buried, they come back to life like some haunted movie. And I don't know where this thing is going to end up. I really don't. And, you look at the last two games or the first two games of the St. Louis series. I mean, weren't we all ready to just throw these guys overboard and say, that's it, it's over? I mean, then you come back and you have a great last two games. It just seems to be the way. It's a bizarre season. And all the time that I've watched the Padres since 1969, I cannot remember a season so bizarre as this one.
Appreciate you, Dave. And thanks for the kind words as well.
They have a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, definitely. I
mean,
mean,
one day they're good, the next day it's like, what?
And honestly, the fan base reacts that way. I mean, we did a wrap-up show Friday night. They've lost 4 straight. We're days away from the trade deadline. What percent of the reaction is sell everything?
Dude,
a ton of people.
They had like 12 hits and no runs?
11 hits.
11 hits and no runs.
Most hits by any Major League Baseball team this year without a run. And everyone's like, sell. This team made it. And even in that moment, and us, I mean, we'll be critical, but we weren't after Friday night like season's over.
No,
we really weren't. I mean, it's such a long game. 6 teams make the postseason in each league. It's amazing the difference between 1 or 2 days. And now they win a couple of games, Saturday and Sunday. And we'll see what happens this week against the New York Mets. But yeah, there's a helter-skelter element to the San Diego Padres. It's not just this year. I think it's basically the franchise. And we'll see. I'm relatively confident in their potential for the remainder of the regular season because I know they don't have to accomplish everything. I think just by playing decently well, they can get into the postseason. It is not a guarantee, but it's not like they have to go play 600 baseball to get into the postseason. They just need to play well enough.
And kind of stabilizing things here at the end of the road trip. You feel better about the team. Like, yeah, you're right. Friday night, it was DEFCON 1.
It was
4 games in a row. They get shut out in St. Louis against a guy that has a 5.2 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
But then Saturday and Sunday they play really good. So they have a Jekyll and Hyde aspect to them. But the thing is, like, you got to be consistent because these things you don't want popping up in the most crucial parts of your season where they can't score runs, they can't hit with runners in scoring position. We read off the numbers earlier in the show. Their offense is better, but still the number one most important thing is the runs per game hasn't improved enough over the course of the last month.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. You're right. That surprises me because the Offensive indicators are better, but the end result's the end result. And they're scoring less than 4 runs a game now for a long time.
Since May, what is it? Here, let me pull this up here. So since May 11th, they have averaged under 4 runs per game.
And it's even under like 3.7, because you said it was 3.6 for a while, then like 3.7.
3.65 for essentially 2 months. Or no. Yeah, for 2 months. From May 11th to July 2nd, almost 2 months.
And now 3.7 more recently.
Now 3.7.
So they're not scoring.
They were 25-13 to start their year from the beginning of the year to May 10th. They averaged 4.66 runs per game, which was 12th best in baseball. The offense across the board was really good. Best batting average in baseball. They're the 5th best on base percentage in baseball, 9th best slugging percentage in baseball, 8th best OPS in baseball, and then everything just fell off a cliff.
Here's the amazing thing, though, because typically the magic number in baseball is you score 4, you win. You score 3 or less, you lose. Right? That is the line in the sand. You score 4 runs. I'd love to see MLB's winning percentage is high. You score 3 runs. I'd love to see MLB's winning percentage is low. The Padres this year, when scoring 3 runs or fewer, have 18 wins. That's an amazing number that speaks to the back end of their bullpen.
Yep, that's
the production of Randy Vasquez and Stephen Kolek, Michael King earlier, right? Like Nick Pivetta all year long.
100%.
That's what it speaks to. A year ago, and they were really good with the 93 wins, but they relied more on their offense. They weren't winning by scoring 2. They weren't winning every game 2-1. This year, 5-1-0 wins. A number of 2-1 wins. A number of wins like St. Louis Saturday, where they scored 3 runs and won by multiple runs. They won 3-1. On Saturday.
That's the identity of this team. They're up and down offensively. For the most part, for the last 2-3 months, they've been mostly down with some flashes here and there. You know, like, oh, they're about to get hot, and then they lose 4 in a row, and they can't score over 3 runs. Right. Like that's just what they do.
Right.
That's who they are. Until they turn that around, which I don't know if they are going to, but that's who this Padres team is. And all fans out there, it's going to be torture. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be pretty. They'll have games like where they look like they did yesterday, where they score 9 runs and Manny goes off. And then they'll have games like they looked on Friday night, where they can't score any runs and they can't get a hit with runners in scoring position. And it is just so incredibly frustrating to watch. You know, the team that the Mets just played, the Giants, we've watched the Giants this year, and especially against the Padres. It's like this team offensively is god
awful.
They've scored
more
runs than the Padres this year.
I know.
And the Padres had a game where they scored 21 runs in. So the Giants have one of the worst offenses in the sport. I think they went, because I was looking at I was watching I was looking at the Mets, how they were doing before coming to San Diego. And this stat just popped up on my timeline. Giants went, I think, like 0 for 22 with runners in scoring position in the series versus the Mets.
They're like, Padres, anything you could do, we could do better.
And the Giants, back to my point, have scored more runs this year than the Padres.
Yeah, it's a concern. I will say one person that's not a concern. I want to do like a 30-second tribute to Manny Machado.
A tribute.
He probably tanks away the next 50-something games.
This will be on you.
Manny Machado's season is maybe the second best of his Padres career. He right now is pacing to hit 300 because he's hitting 300 with 30 home runs and 100 RBIs. That's his true pace.
Dude, that is such a Manny season.
Is that crazy?
That is such a Manny season.
Card?
Oh my gosh.
His actual pace, he's never hit 300 in a season, by the way, which is amazing. I mean,
wait, he hasn't?
He's never hit 300 in a full season.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
What did he hit with the Dodgers in 2018?
Yes. He hit with the Dodgers 273.
No, overall that season.
297.
Oh, okay.
He has never hit 300. He hit 304 in 2020. Doesn't count.
Okay.
You agree?
I agree.
So he's never hit 300 a season. By the way, it's not gonna be easy. He's hitting 300 on the nose. So
no one's saying if he doesn't hit 300, it's a failure.
Right. But he's truly pacing for 300, 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. The most Manny Machado season ever is what he's pacing to do.
That's who Manny Machado is.
Crazy, man.
That's who he is. He's a
280 career
hitter. Yep. But still 330 hundo.
It's crazy.
That's who he is. And we said it to start the year, even when he wasn't hitting all those home runs, he's gonna get to his number.
And if it's
like
27,
28, he has not had a season in a Padres uniform where he's hit less than 28 home runs in a full year.
Correct.
And in the 2020 season, if that thing were to go, he might have had a career year in home runs.
And he's never hit more than 32. He's just such a consistent being. It's so crazy how consistent he has been. All right, we'll get to the wrap on the other side. Sean Lewis, fall camp opens for the Aztecs on Wednesday. They got a terrific offer, by the way, for season ticket holders. You can watch practice the first 2 weeks. We'll talk about that with Sean Lewis coming up at 4:30. Annie Hobron from the UT will join us at 5 p.m. Kevin Acey, our Padres insider, joins us at 5:30. We'd love to hear from you as well. 877-767-4760 if you want to weigh in on the impending trade deadline. 877-767-4760. Stay with us, John and Jim.
All right, so today's brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres start a 3-game series with the New York Mets tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. One trade to report in baseball today. Old friend Chris Paddock was traded from the Twins to the Tigers, and SDFC picked up 3 points Saturday night with their 1-0 victory over Nashville. Anderson's drain stoppage guarantee solves issues for $63, or it's on the house. Nobody wows clients like they do. Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air has been privileged to serve over 500,000 residential clients for more than 45 years. Visit AndersonPHA.com today.
Under the Arch.
The air to left field struck pretty well. Burleson going back, looking up, it's gone. Xander Bogaerts connects on his 7th home run of the year. Padres get a run back. It's 8-2.
A split for Mike Schilt and the boys. Now it's back home to face the Mets.
Plus, the MLB trade deadline is Thursday.
Buying or selling? Full speculation and a preview of the series with John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 3, John and Jim. Great couple of hours coming up. Sean Lewis, Aztec's second-year head football coach at 4:30. Fall camp starts Wednesday. He'll join us with a preview. We were in Vegas with him a couple of weeks ago. Sean Lewis will join us coming up at 4:30. Then Annie Halberin at 5 p.m. And Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, who is like, where in the world is Kevin Acee? He is back in San Diego. He's been in every city for the last 2 weeks. Kevin Acee will join us at 5:30.
Big series here.
Big series. Honestly, like, yes, as big as the series is, I feel like it takes a back seat to the trade deadline. Would you agree? Like, they're both big. It's more important probably to win on field, but I would argue that for Padres fans, as much of their attention is on the trade deadline as it is on this series against the Mets. It's just a big week. Like you said, it's a big week for Michael King and Dylan Cease and AJ Preller and the Padres in general. It's just a big week coming up for the Padres beginning tonight. All right, we're going to get to the wrap. Sean Lewis will join us at 4:30. Kevin Acee at 5:30. Let's get to it.
Time for the wrap.
Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Will you guys be watching Thursday's Hall of Fame game between the Chargers and the Lions?
Yeah, it's football. Football will be on. There's no baseball Thursday night. And the trade deadline will be over.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like we're sitting there on our phones. I'm just scrolling constantly waiting for AJ Preller to do something. If the trade deadline was at whenever the game's on, 5 o'clock, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So if the trade deadline was at 5 o'clock, or if it was at like 5:30, I would be occupied with other things. But yeah, no baseball Thursday night. Padres have an off day. The trade deadline will already expired earlier in the day. Yeah, I'll have football on.
Oh, my gosh.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is kind of a big deal. Lions
Kind of.
could represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Chargers could be an NFL team. So you get Lions and Chargers meeting on a Thursday night in Canton,
the
Ohio.
Lions could be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, you got. I think they're among the favorites in the NFC. Are they not?
Well, Detroit is a -1 favorite over the Chargers on Thursday night's Hall of Fame game.
How many do you think that Herbert stays in for the whole game? And do you think if there's overtime, you stick with Herbert, or does he come back in if it goes to OT? Same thing with Goff.
Yeah, I think they're going to treat this like if this were the Super Bowl.
I would just run them every play. Just run the quarterback.
Quarterback option?
Yes, just right up the middle.
Quarterback sneak?
Every play. Try to perfect what Philadelphia has done with the tush push.
Yeah.
For Herbert and Goff on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Next question.
Well, the Mavericks regret trading away Luka, who now happens to be skinny and in shape.
Where's the photo?
You can find it.
Well, I know, but I mean, that's like when you say, "How do you spell Farrell Compton's name?"
He was on the cover of Health Magazine recently, and he looks completely changed.
Yeah, he looks like a before and after Weight Watchers photo.
Yeah, I see it now.
He looks so good. I'm like he's too skinny, but he's really tall, so it doesn't, it's not like some skinny kid. He's a big. He's big, but he's just took all the fat off.
He did that in 2 months, basically.
I think this is a giant FU to everybody that called him fat last year, and especially to the Mavericks organization. Watch out for a big Luka year.
mean, every year is a big Luka year. That Luka has not been a problem, right? I mean, you could argue his defense, but he's been in NBA Finals. He's been among the elite scorers in the NBA. I think they'll regret the Luka trade because it was a bad trade. They benefit from Cooper Flagg walks in the door.
Right, yeah.
They may reconstruct the roster to be among the better rosters in the Western Conference, but you traded away Luka. Of course you could regret it, whether he's out of shape, in shape, skinny or not. It's Luka, one of the most explosive dynamic scorers in the history of the NBA. So I don't care if Luka looks identical. They could still regret it. Him looking better, they probably regret it too.
And good on Luka for taking this seriously, getting in shape, losing all that fat. If you're the Lakers organization right now, you got to be like, oh, this is a dream. Because you can tell somebody, hey, we need you to do this, we need you to do that. But it's up to that person and that player to actually go out and do it. I'm sure with the Mavs, they probably, hey, Luka, can we get in shape here? And it just didn't happen. And now, after a half a season with the Lakers, he goes out and completely transforms his body.
Maybe it took what happened in Dallas for him to kind of get to this point. It was even at the end of the year, JJ Redick was like, we weren't in championship shape. He didn't say Luka.
Right, because you're not going to say that about Luka.
But he said we weren't in championship shape. Well, Luka right now looks like he's in like Olympic soccer shape.
He looks so good.
All right, next question.
What kind of shape is Bronny in, though?
Good point.
Yeah, exactly.
Should the Padres trade Dylan Cease? Don't even sugarcoat it. Should they?
Should they? I don't know if they should, but like should, it might be the wrong word. Like, should they trade Dylan Cease? Probably not. Will they trade Dylan Cease? There's a high likelihood that will happen. But should they trade Dylan Cease? I would say no. You're not doing this because you want to trade Dylan Cease. You're doing this because you don't have any other option to round out the rest of your roster, right?
Yes, I would agree. I do not think they should trade Dylan Cease. Now, I said I don't think they should trade Juan Soto. And they were better after trading Juan Soto. So it's not a right or wrong answer. Is it subjective? We'll see what happens in the future, which nobody can predict. But I personally wouldn't trade Dylan Cease. Now, I might change my tune if he sucks tonight. And I might change my tune if he's really good tonight. If Dylan Cease goes out against the Mets 6 innings, 2 runs or less, I'm going to come on the wrap-up show and be like, why are you trading Dylan Cease? He's had 2 really good starts his last 3 times out. He wasn't awful his last time out. No. When he lost, he went 5 innings, 3 runs, 2 earned. If he's 6 innings, 2 runs or less tonight, I'll double down on the effort to retain him, not move him. As I'll say, he's been good in the second half.
Yeah, it'll be difficult tonight if he goes out there and shoves against the Mets and helps end their 7-game winning streak. Because now you're AJ and you're like, well, I've been talking to teams for the last 3 weeks here and in the offseason about Dylan Cease. I need to improve other parts of my team. And Dylan seems like the player that would be the best course of action to do that. He's actually not pitching really well. It's just they're stuck in between a rock and a hard place with him, I feel like.
Yeah, it's weird because if he doesn't pitch well tonight, again, does he have amazing value as a rental if he goes out there and goes 3 innings tonight, last 6 runs? Now, hopefully that doesn't happen.
His value does go up if he pitches well tonight, though. You think about that.
But I think his value goes up for the Padres.
Yes.
Because you could make the argument he's just been better.
What if AJ just stands pat the deadline?
No moves.
No moves, dude.
0% chance.
Okay.
I will do the show with a backwards hat.
That's it.
I will do the show backwards. You won't even be able to hear me. I'll do the show. I will be facing the television.
Backwards?
I'll do the entire show backwards if there's 0 moves.
Will you dress like crisscross and then be backwards?
I'll wear my clothing backwards if he makes no moves.
Totally crossed out, John.
That's what I'll do.
Backwards everything.
All right, next question.
Will baseball have a work stoppage prior to 2027?
I'll say no, just because I know baseball can't afford to have a work stoppage.
Right.
They have too much good momentum going for them over the last couple years. And if you have a work stoppage, you just take all that good momentum and throw it out the window because people will move on from you very quickly.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, if it's hey, we miss a week, I don't think it's going to matter.
People would get over it.
But you miss a half a year and you end up pulling the 60-game crap again. Now, they had to do it in COVID year, but you end up doing the 60-game thing or whatever, people aren't going to like that.
I think there'll be every story under the sun, and I think there'll be crazy animosity just like last time and the time before. And I think ultimately, when there's a true deadline, a deal will be made between the players' union and the commissioner's office or the owners. We still have a year and a half on that, but I'm not expecting them to miss a significant amount of time. I'm not expecting them to miss any time, truthfully, in 2027. All right, 877. What do you got?
Nothing. Continue.
Are you expecting them? No, you said you weren't expecting them to miss time.
No, I just saw something on social media. We'll hear from Michael King and Mike Schilt coming up here later this hour.
Okay, we can do it even on the other side of a break. We have Sean Lewis at 4:30, but we do want to go to the phones. 877-767-4760. Matt wants to weigh in. And Matt, you're on with John and Jim. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, guys. Just want to congratulate you on your award. I think you guys are really objective, and I appreciate it. And for your next negotiation, I hope you treat it like Juan Soto and get the most compensation.
100%. We will absolutely do that. Thank you.
But the one point I wanted to make is I think this trade deadline is really big for the future of the franchise from this aspect of if you look at A.J. Preller's contract ending next year, I'm not sure if you guys saw over the weekend, Manny Machado was liking a post about ownership not wanting to spend. But it really makes me wonder that if that's the case, and let's say AJ wasn't able to make that Duran deal because ownership didn't want to support him and putting all those assets, I do start wondering if AJ's future here is in question. I mean, he has been in the job for quite a bit. And, I don't think necessarily he's done anything wrong, but, he might just say, hey, it's a different ownership. It's a different vision to, what I signed up for. And yeah, I've called in before and said I'm I think Mike Rizzo would be perfect for this current ownership, but I just want your guys' take on that.
Matt, appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.
It's so hard to have a conversation about a GM's future in the middle of a year because everything's going to change in 8 to 12 weeks. They're either going to exceed expectations or fall short, right? Or be somewhere, I guess, in the middle. But it's hard to have the AJ Preller conversation July 28th. What if they have success? What if they don't? So I just think it's a very hard conversation to have on AJ Preller right now. I think you give him the reins right now and you see what happens, but that doesn't guarantee it long term.
Why did Manny deactivate his Instagram account?
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't know he did.
Yeah, he did that over the weekend. Now that happened after the back and forth with him and John Jay.
Maybe because of that. Maybe John Jay was DMing him.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing why he did that.
It's very odd. Maybe he says, you know what? Maybe it's the Sean Lewis. I'm not going on social media. He said post-game, he was very honest yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
He said, you know what? Here's the thing. For us to reach our goals, I got to play like that.
Yeah.
That's basically what he said. I got to be at my best. There's no way around this. You need the 300 hitting Manny Machado. That's a top 5 dangerous offensive weapon in the National League. So maybe it's you know what? A little less Instagram, a little more hitting. And he's been an unbelievable hitter here in 2025. We'll hear from Michael King on the other side. We're also going to hear from Mike Schilt. We have his pregame comments with the media. We'll share that with you coming up later this hour as well. Sean Lewis, our guest at 4:30. San Diego State's football coach. Fall camp opens on Wednesday. So stay with us, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Sean Lewis, Aztecs football coach, will join us coming up in 10 minutes. Then Andy Halpern at 5 p.m. and Kevin Acey at 5:30. And we're going to hear from Mike Schilt this hour. We have the Mike Schilt sound. We have Michael King talking about his sim game as well.
I didn't know he was speaking to the media after his sim game.
After allowing that homer to Trenton Brooks, you thought he might just run into the clubhouse.
It's like, I don't want to talk about that. That was awful for me. The worst player on our team.
Bench is cleared. I mean, there's no bench. There's just one team.
Trenton Brooks like, suck it, Mike.
You think that happened?
I don't think so.
Either do I. Do you want to hear
take that, Michael King?
Do we want to hear from King?
We do want to hear from Michael King. We have Michael King. We have Michael King. Here's Michael King after his sim start where he did give up a home run to the magic bullet himself, Trenton Brooks.
Yep.
The adrenaline, like pitching at Petco, is a little bit more than Arizona back leagues or backfield. So I was happy with the command of everything. Shapes were good, but yeah, I felt like all pitches were commanded pretty well.
Why was so like this was a pretty intense game and 9 behind you?
Yeah.
Why was that setting so important to you at this stage?
I mean, it just becomes more game-like, you know. I still try to have fun out there, and I'm apologizing to Tyler Wade when I almost hit him. It's like those kinds of things I wouldn't do in an actual game, but seeing a ball get hit into the outfield and knowing I got a defense there, trying to pick somebody off, trying to make sure he doesn't steal. There's so many different things that go into a game that you're not typically used to when you're first building up. So I like that we're doing that. So I'm hopefully a little bit better at it when I return.
Do you think this sets you up for the next step?
Build pitch count. I'm always the type that wants to build as much as I possibly can. I was happy I was able to go 3 ups. Last one was 1 of 20. So I think I did 40 pitches today, but yeah, I mean, I would love to build as much as I possibly can, as quick as I possibly can. So that's going to be some conversations I have in the next couple of days.
Do you expect it to be another one of these, or do you think minor league rehab assignment?
No idea. I was asking that earlier, and they said, let's just get through today. So those conversations will probably happen in the next 48 hours.
Is this the first one in uniform?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, second one.
It's important to put the uniform on there.
Yeah.
Oh, second one. Second one in uniform. It's closer and closer to returning, John.
I mean, let's do the math on it. Let's say you need to build up to 75 to 90 pitches. And let's say he pitches every 4th or 5th day to do that. I mean, even 10, what's realistic? 10 to 15 days from now? Is that overly optimistic? 10 to 15 days from now?
Well, the timeline's always been, since they revealed a timeline, was the middle of August.
Yeah, I thought he said no timeline.
I thought we heard like sometime in August.
Sometime in August. Yeah, exactly. So that could be pretty soon.
Could be Thursday. It could be not Thursday.
Well, it's not going to be
Friday.
Well, he's going to make another appearance.
No,
I mean,
Friday's not realistic.
I mean, I think the lesson learned to me from the Darvish controlled environment sim game is that is not an ideal way to do it. That you need to throw someone into a real game, and the only way to do that is to do it on a rehab outing. I mean, you're talking about months between facing real opponent hitters. Months. He hasn't pitched since the middle of May. Just go throw him in AA or AAA or single A, wherever it makes the most sense for his circumstance. To me, he's got to have one of those. So you have one of those, you see how he reacts to it, and then maybe 5 or 6 days later, he's in the major leagues. But I mean, based on what he's saying and based on what's playing out, I would be surprised if it took more than another like 15 days, truthfully, for him to get back.
My best guess, with all that being said by you, I'll go with the 3 games, sometime in the 3-game series against the Giants, either August 11th, 12th, or 13th. That's when I'm going with when he'll return.
I mean, I buy that. Let's say there's another sim game in 3, 4, 5 days. Again, I don't know.
This weekend.
Math. Yeah, we say it's Monday, but he only threw 40 pitches. Oh, yeah, let's say Friday, Saturday, whatever. Bullpen Wednesday, Thursday, sim game Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's say a rehab the next week. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, somewhere in there. And then an outing in the major leagues.
Yeah. I think one sim game will be enough. Or not, sorry. One rehab game will be enough.
Probably.
Why pitch him multiple rehab games and waste pitches down the minors when he could be doing that at the big league level?
No, the only factor is just building him up, presumably. I mean, you're not going to put him into a big league game on a 40 pitch count. It's going to have to be in a 60 pitch count, I would think, if not more. So it's encouraging that they'll get him out there. But the part that's unknown is how he looks.
Right. I mean, if he's giving up bombs to Trent Brooks and almost hitting Tyler Wade.
Right. Well, this is a sim game in the middle of the afternoon.
It's a sim game. I get it. It's a sim game. Sim games are what they are. And we'll have to see. We'll hear from Michael Schilt. We'll hear from Mike Schilt coming up later in the hour. But
Mike King spoke earlier, and Michael Schilt will speak later.
You know what he's going to say.
Well, I've already seen what he says.
I know, like it's such a atypical thing for a manager to say on the trade deadline about a player that's injured coming back.
Well, he's right. He's like, if they do get the real King, they're not making a bigger acquisition. I agree.
Yeah, that's like the same thing in 2022 with Tatis, but that never happened.
Correct. That was on Tatis.
100%.
So we'll see, but we'll hear from Michael Schilt coming up at 4:45. On the other side, Aztec head football coach Sean Lewis. Fall camp opens for the Aztecs on Wednesday. He sat down with the media earlier today. He's going to join us live on the other side of a break with more on season number 2 on the Mesa. Then Andy Halpern will join us at 5, and coming up at 5:30, Kevin Acee, our Padres insider. But Sean Lewis, head coach at San Diego State, joins us next on John and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by Sid's Carpet Barn. Padres and Mets start a 3-game series tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease will be on the mound for the Padres tonight when it might be his final start in a Padres uniform. Trade in baseball today. Old friend Chris Paddock was traded from the Twins to the Tigers, and STFC, they picked up 3 points over the weekend on Saturday night. After their 1-0 victory over Nashville. With Kohl's Fine Flooring closing, Sid's Carpet Barn is San Diego's undisputed flooring leader, carrying a huge selection of high-end flooring and durable, economical flooring, too. All the lowest prices in town. Visit sidscarpetbarn.com today.
All right, we're expected to connect with Sean Lewis momentarily. We'll hear from Mike Schilt coming up in about 15 minutes. He has spoken with the media. Juan Soto returns. The New York Mets are in town. And Soto was with Scott Boras this afternoon, his agent.
Oh, must be nice.
San Diego. Of course, Boras out of Anaheim, Southern California, often at Petco Park. And there this afternoon as well. All right, San Diego State football. We just had Sean Lewis on the show just a week or two ago from Las Vegas, Nevada. It has gotten real. Fall camp gets underway Wednesday. It's great to once again reconnect with Sean Lewis. He's getting his football program ready for 2025. A month from today, Aztecs and Stony Brook, single game tickets, mini plans, season tickets on sale right now at goaztecs.com. And speaking of season tickets, Sean, we appreciate you taking time. You made a really cool announcement earlier today about your fall camp for San Diego State season ticket holders. For our listeners that missed that, what type of opportunity do ticket holders have to start fall camp? And thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. It's awesome to connect, and obviously a great time of year here with ball getting started this week. But yeah, we mentioned earlier today at the press conference, I want to make sure that all of our current season ticket holders know that we're opening up practice for the first 2 weeks. So practice gets rolling on Wednesday and all the way through August 13th, leading up to Fan Fest on August 14th. Our practices that go from 9:30 into 11:30 in the morning will be open to current season ticket holders. So excited to open the doors, welcome them, as a way to say thanks for their support and being there with us last year as we got this thing rolling. And then obviously for those that are going to be with us and hopefully more come on board as well as season ticket holders in some capacity to join us and to pack the snap and get this thing rocking and rolling.
And I'm sure all season ticket holders, they're what they're thinking about right now is who's the starting quarterback? The obligatory, what's the timeline for your starting quarterback? Well, coach, what's the timeline for a starting quarterback for you?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have 2 great scrimmages in those first 2 weeks of camp, along with numerous other opportunities for the quarterbacks and for the offense and for the whole team to come together. So as soon as we can, figure out who's going to give us the most confidence, who's going to be most efficient moving the ball and putting it in the end zone, that guy who kind of grabs it by the reins and takes hold and gives the offense the confidence, day in and day out and shows it with their consistent play. We want to make that announcement and know for those individuals and most importantly for the team, who's going to be the guy leading us. But we got some great guys in the room. Jane Denegal and Bert Emanuel have done a great job since they've been here. And whoever ends up being the primary starter, both guys are going to have a significant role because they are both dynamic playmakers and they're going to help us win a lot of games this fall.
Sean Lewis, San Diego State second-year head coach, with us on the home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760, and John and Jim. By the way, Fan Fest, which includes a scrimmage, is a Thursday night at Snapdragon. That's Thursday, August 14th, 7 p.m. Free tickets are available right now at goaztecs.com. If you want to make it out to Fan Fest, a scrimmage, Thursday, August 14th, 2 weeks to the exact moment of when the Aztecs open their season against Stony Brook. That'll be Thursday, August 28th. Again, free tickets available at goaztecs.com. I was going to ask this earlier during your press conference, but I just, for whatever reason, I didn't because I knew I'd talk to you later in the day. But what is it about the fine line between getting a team ready for a season, but also keeping veteran players healthy? How do you balance that from like a coaching perspective? It is football, right? You have to play football to get good at football, but how do you make sure you're as healthy as you can be heading into a year?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously something that we work hand in hand with our strength and conditioning staff and, using all the information that is at our disposal, right? To get good at this game, you have to have physical practices. You need to work on the basic fundamentals and the skills of blocking and tackling, regardless of scheme. That's how the game is won. And you have to go through, the experience of camp, and going through everything that entails. Yet I think we are, smart enough in the game here now to know that more is not always better. Sometimes more is just more, and really having detailed, specific plans for where guys are in their journeys, right? Like where a guy like Chris Johnson, a guy like Eric Butler, or a guy like Ross, those guys are at a different point with the number of game reps that they have logged. And so there's different weight that really gets put on each individual drill. And there's certain things that those guys need to do versus there's other things that they have enough time on task that, we can allow them to go work on a specific nuanced skill, some of the Jedi tricks that where they're at in their training that, a younger guy isn't ready to drill or to train because they're still learning how to do the basics and the fundamentals. So it is a fine line to make sure that everyone is physically ready to play and that they're conditioned to play, but that you come out of camp as healthy and as fresh as possible so you can go attack week one the right way and the whole season, that you set yourself up for success with all that comes.
So you put on social media 8 days ago. You're going dark for the season. How much better is your life now that you've decided to do that?
I tell you what, there's a lot more mental capacity that's used for other things. That you can just have better focus. We talk all the time about the way that we define focus is really kind of the depth and the direction of where your time, energy, and effort is at. And if you get sucked into the algorithm, obviously your time and attention is getting sucked there when it could be used in other spots. And again, we've talked about before, just the opportunity that we have for this club and the decision that these players have made and the staff has made with how important this season is, because it's the next one, and how important it is for these guys to earn great opportunities and for us to restore pride in the program. Remove distractions. As Kobe said, we're going to edit our life here and go to work. And I'll see everyone on social media on the other side of a great run here.
Sean Lewis with us right now on John and Jim. I'm curious, Sean, because you played, and then there's always the next, version. There's always a younger generation, so to speak. Are there more challenges on players to stay focused, or were there always challenges, whether we're playing football in 1980 or 2000 or 2025? Is it more challenging for young people to stay focused on the task at hand, or has that always been an issue regardless of generation?
I think there's always been temptation out there, regardless of generations, right? And that's why it's so critically important that you get people in the building with great character that know what their priorities are and, again, edit their life accordingly, right? But, there's always been temptation. It'll always be out there. I told the guys last week as we wrapped summer conditioning, we gave them some good days for R&R, but it's that idle time is the devil's playground, right? So make good decisions with all the hard work that they've invested so that we can attack camp the right way. But I don't think that's specific to this generation or any others. Those temptations have always been out there. And, we got great guys that make great choices in the building here.
Well, you're not on social media anymore, the Aztec football account, and you're doing this new series called The Climb. A couple days ago, they released the first episode. I'm sure you've seen it, obviously. What was the decision behind going behind the scenes at such a, big clip here with everything that you guys are doing, from the white shirts to the workouts to how you have to earn things? How do you feel so far about the inside look that the fans get to see now of your football club?
I think it was great, and I feel awesome about the production that's been put out, the product that has been put out. I think our sport is very unique to where very often, our supporters, our fans, the community, they don't get to see our guys without their helmets off and truly know and understand who these people are under the pads and how amazing young men they are, and then want to do a great job really telling the story, right? Each team every year and each program around the country has all these unbelievable stories, that's going on within the building. And again, there's all these unbelievable platforms that are out there to be able to share that story, to connect the community. So if there's someone, hey, kind of on the fence, why should I support this team? What is it that makes them special? What are they about? They get to see the story. They get to hear the story, and I think there's a lot of messaging within that, that has resonated with our team, but I believe that will resonate with our community that, hey, let's get some tickets. Let's go support these guys. There's a character, there's a player, there's a coach that, really spoke to me and, draws them into being a part of this great climb that we are working on.
Sean Lewis with us right now on John and Jim. Sometimes across sports, people get enamored with something that isn't necessarily the difference between winning and losing. We concern ourselves with the top scorers in basketball, or the furthest home runs in baseball, or sometimes skill in football. But you mentioned something today, one of the determining factors for your team in general is just going to be physicality and toughness. Obviously, that's always starting up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. How does that play out? How do you make sure you have a group that can deal with the rigors of 12 consecutive football games, at least from a physicality and toughness mindset?
yeah, they embrace it, right? They take on the challenge, they take on the opportunity to make that a part of their DNA, and they embrace it with pride. Because again, whether it's the game of football or it's life, right? Like, we're going to be faced with tough times, but those tough times don't last. Tough people do. So having a team that is resilient, having a team that is willing to go harder, longer than anyone on the field is a definite competitive advantage. And ultimately, when these guys leave here with great degrees and their great playing experience and all the things that we're able to provide here, right? Like, we still want them to be great young men that are able to weather the storm and handle hard better than they've ever been able to. And so, presenting those challenges, training them the right way here through training camp. And to your point, dominating the line of scrimmage, right? And winning that physical battle in the trenches, and having a tough squad that is able to withstand anything that comes our way this season will be paramount for our success.
Sean, we're excited to see this football team in action again. For season ticket holders, you can do that beginning Wednesday morning, the first practice of the 2025 season when it comes to fall camp. And we're a month out right now from that opener at Snapdragon against Stony Brook. And again, single game tickets, mini plans, season tickets are on sale right now at goaztecs.com. Sean, appreciate the time. We will see you Wednesday morning, and thanks for joining us as always.
Yeah, guys, thank you. Go Aztecs.
All right, great stuff from the head coach at San Diego State, Sean Lewis. 1 month from tonight, San Diego State will get its season underway.
That happened quickly.
Isn't that fun? The football offseason is so long, too.
No. Are you ready?
No, not yet, but I bought, you saw my, did you see what I bought?
didn't. No, I did see what you bought. Yeah.
Like, you have to have this. I'm assuming, like, Sean might not have this, but I need this.
Yeah.
He has other thing. I've got
I did not see
Seal,
that.
College Football 25.
See, that thing is.
I went to a Barnes & Noble, still in business. Barnes & Noble.
Did you go to the one over off Friars?
No.
There's one over by the BJ's, over by, there's like a Vaughn's.
I should have.
Yeah, there's a Vaughn's, and then there's, it's over by the hotel that we went to for the card.
Oh, yes. No, I did.
Yeah.
I did, but guess what? They didn't have it. I ended up going to a second. But they had this.
Whoa, this thing is heavy.
It's like 400 pages, every team in FBS, including San Diego State. Great way to prep.
Yes, I was going to say, you need this.
It's not good. It's not like, hey, you just want to take in a game, drink a beer, have a hot dog.
Like, if I'm like looking right now, I just pulled to the Colorado State Rams page.
There's a lot of info, dude. Look at that. Look how much information is in there.
Oh, my goodness. Linebackers in 2023, they lost. Wait.
It's too much. You can't even, a lot of it doesn't make sense.
Why is this the right year?
Yeah, they go through the last couple of years.
Oh, okay. I was going to say there's a lot of 23 in here.
23 and then 24 and then.
Oh, okay.
But it's got everything you need. Like, honestly, not everything, but it's a good way to get ready for a year.
This makes me dizzy looking at all this here. There's a lot.
I got to buy another one because they have an FCS one.
They packed in a lot.
How many words are in this? Have you ever read this many words in your life?
No, I have never read that many words in my life. What's a book?
All right, we're going to hear from both Michael Schilt.
Yes, Michael Schilt and Mike King.
What's Manny's full name?
Manny Machado.
And we're going to hear from Manny Machado as well in the upcoming trade deadline. Annie Halpern at 5 p.m. Kevin AC at 5:30. Stay with us, John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. A lot of Padres talk coming up over the next hour. Annie Halpern will join us, I believe, from Petco. Theoretically, I think from Petco.
She's
definitely
at Petco Park.
Definitely from
100%.
Oh, yeah, she was there earlier.
Like 100% she's there.
100%.
Like 100.
She went to get like
150%. Even though there's no such thing as 150%.
100% chance you said Dylan Cease was going to get traded, and here we are. He's pitching tonight.
There's still there's still time, John.
Did you still feel that confident? No.
No, I don't.
Anyway, Annie Halpern will join us at 5. Kevin Acey will join us at 5:30. Why don't we hear from Mike Schild?
Michael Schild?
Yeah, Michael Schild. We're going to hear from Manny Machado as well on the trade deadline coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. But let's start with Mike Schild. Now, where does this start, Brent? All right. How it feels.
Game,
they haven't been home for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
They haven't been home for 2 weeks. Yeah. How does it feel? This is a tough one. How does it feel to be back home, Mike?
Really nice. It's really nice. Listen, we always love going on the road, amazing cities and ballparks and competition, and but there's no place like San Diego, and it's good to be here, and we're excited about being back in front of our fans. So it's great.
That was a good little tester coming out of the break. You got a 10-day road trip and some hot, steamy places. Overall, how do you feel about how the team performed?
I felt outstanding about it. Listen, I don't know if it's the absolute recipe, you go 500 on the road, whatever. But, you play 500 baseball on the road, you feel pretty good about it, especially with the circumstances of the trip. I mentioned this after the game last night. I was as pleased about the performance the last 2 games of the road trip. And it's just more confirmation, but it's also good to see that our players, man, our guys absolutely balled out, man. They brought it. They were able to show up in some real tough circumstances, end of a long road trip, the longest one of the season, in some really tough circumstances. We talk about winners compete regardless of circumstances, and they showed up and absolutely got after yesterday, and it was a championship effort.
And it seemed like at the end of that trip, when things could have potentially gotten sloppy or whatever, it seemed like you're playing some of your best baseball.
That's right, and that's an excellent point, and that is the point. It could have gotten a little sideways. It could have gotten, hey, let's just get back to San Diego. Let's just get out of here. No, we're getting out of here, winning some games, and the guys took care of business. I was really proud of them.
Pretty exciting to see Michael King out on the mound today. What can you tell us about his simulated game?
It was very encouraging, very, very, very encouraging. I'm sure most of you saw it. You can form your own opinions, and everybody has the right to have them. You're asking me mine. I was extremely encouraged by it. It looked like Michael. We don't want to get too far down the road, but we are getting down the road, and the end of the road is back pitching for the Padres, and clearly that'd be a huge boost for the club. And Michael's excited, but watching today, the ball was coming out good, and changeup was good, and the secondary was there, and still, as you would expect after a multiple month hiatus from the mound, there's still a little bit of rust there. But as far as the ball coming out and the movements, and it also looked like he felt good. And that's the most important thing. It looked free. It looked easy. It didn't look apprehensive. So we saw a convicted athlete out there, and so it was a very encouraging day for Michael King and the Padres.
Yeah. You have a pitch count? How many pitches he threw this time?
I didn't get it. He went out for the third. We wanted to get 3 ups with him today, and I had other obligation to come in right when he started the 3rd up, and I've been busy till now, so I don't know the exact number, but it was in a controlled environment, so I'm sure it was him and Ruben wanted.
Mike, what's your approach to a week like this when there's maybe a little bit more on some of the minds of some of your players with the trade deadline coming around?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, our approach doesn't necessarily change. I mean, AJ's got more than his hands full, and he's the right man, and wouldn't have any other general manager in the business doing what we're doing. I'm thankful for that. As far as the players go, I mean, it's really just about business as usual, showing up, making sure everybody's positive and prepared, and enjoying the competition and being together. I mean, there's nobody that I'm aware of. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I don't know how much, but my guess there's a lot of stuff out there for players, and who's going there, and the fact of the matter is, after doing this a long time, and our players especially know that a high percentage is completely unfounded and has not a lot of merit behind it. So the wrap-up point is we just stay focused on what's the task at hand today's, competing and looking to beat the Mets.
So what would you expect to see from Dylan Cease tonight?
Dylan's best version of himself. I mean, Dylan's been good. It's hard to say because he hadn't had as many results. We haven't scored for Dylan a ton. There's been one or two swings or situations that have bitten, and led to a number that, after 5 or 6 innings, he's sitting at 3 or 4 runs, and we just hadn't been able to, score 5 or 6, which would, help the cause. But I thought Dylan's stuff's been good. There's been multiple times, the last several outings that I look up and he's been efficient. I go, okay, because at least for me, I'm always kind of gauging where he's at and where the game's going. And I'm starting thinking, oh man, this guy's got 7 tonight. This guy's got 8 tonight. Heck, this guy's got no hit stuff tonight. And we're in the 3rd, no hit. And then you look up in the 5th and, a base hit or something happens and then the guy puts a homer for, hit the 2-run homer. And it's like, the calculus changes. But, I feel good about the way the ball's coming out overall.
We've seen Manny carry this team in different stretches this season. What have you seen him recently, especially that last stretch in St. Louis?
Yeah, I've just seen Manny just take what the game gives him. Manny's just been so consistent in his – he's got such a beautiful swing. It starts there. He's got such a repeatable swing as we continue to celebrate the milestones that are Manny Machado and be able to look and reflect on his career, look at some of the highlights. You look and you go, yep, that swing looks right. That's the same swing. That's the same swing. That's the same swing, And so he's got such a nice, simple approach with this swing. He's got a good mental approach to it. And he's just getting balls on the plate and he's using the whole field. And that's really a recipe for a guy that's got exceptional talent.
Right here to start tomorrow.
We'll announce that after the game.
Mike, is there any concerns for Darvish? Any physical concerns?
No, there are physical concerns. We would address them. We would do something to give him a little bit of a breather. But, we're going to be intentional about taking an extra day when we can get it for him or not. That's just, we're really smart about that. It also helps some other guys. So it's not Darvish in a silo. It's, bigger picture. And, no, Hughes recovering well and feels good. And, looking forward to take the ball soon.
Say this an extra day here there to help the other guy. Like after a trip like that one and the heat and all those guys, does that factor into
Yes.
decision making?
Part of the season, coming off the trip, no days off, all of that is a factor. So we around the All-Star break, always intentional about using both sides of it to be smart and create breaks so we can have guys fresh for the final stretch.
I'm sure you're in constant contact with AJ about every single trade rumor that's out there.
No, that's not anything.
But do you expect Michael King to be your biggest post-deadline acquisition?
I can't speak to that. I'll let you know at the end of the All-Star, end of the trade deadline. And I am in contact with AJ. He's phenomenal, but I love the way we work together because, I manage the club that he gives us, and I know he's working hard to always give us the best glove he can within the parameters he's been given. But Michael King comes back, whether we add and what we add, it's hard to say relative to Michael coming back, but it's going to be hard to expect anything better than Michael King.
I would imagine just back to Darvish on getting the extra day, the fact that you have guys that have performed well and you can rely on plays a role in that as well, that you can go to those options.
Absolutely. It's a performance-based deal, and it's always the case. And it doesn't really waver in April, May, but it's clearly the case, as we start to get into July, early August. So, having guys that have been able to come up and confidently compete is definitely a part of the calculus as well.
All right, you heard Andy Halpern, you heard Darnay Tripp,
you heard Marty, you heard
they'll all battle it
everybody.
They'll all battle it out on the other side. They're all going to join us. Actually, Andy Halpern's going to join us on the other side. We'll react to what Mike Schilt just told the media. The Padres balling out per Mike Schilt.
5-5 road trip. They balled out.
They were 3-5 up until Saturday, but they went 5-5 on the trip. Andy Halpern from the UT on the other side. Kevin Acee at 5:30. We'll hear from Manny Machado on the upcoming trade deadline as well in the 5 o'clock hour. Don't go anywhere. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760.
All right, this update is brought to you by Sid's Carpet Barn. Padres and Mets start a 3-game series at Petco Park tonight. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound in what could be his final start in a Padres uniform. Moving over to trade deadline news. There's one trade today. Old friend Chris Paddock was traded from the Twins to the Tigers, and SDFC picked up 3 points over the weekend on Saturday night with their 1-0 victory over Nashville. With Kohl's fine flooring closing, Sid's Carpet Barn and San Diego's undisputed flooring leader, carrying a huge selection of high-end flooring and durable, economical flooring too, all at the lowest prices in town. Visit sidscarpetbarn.com.
It's John and Jim to warm up that drive home.
We were named the best sports talk show in San Diego for a third time, believe it or not, since 2022. Yay. So we appreciate you. We're going to put a video on social media with some outtakes because we're idiots when it comes to that stuff.
We don't have to announce that.
Why? You're going to put the outtakes on social media?
I was going to make a video and put it on social media. Thanking all of our great listeners.
But with the outtakes, right?
Potentially.
Now, time for John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of John and Jim. We're going to go back to, this is the final hour of John and Jim ever, and we're going to bring Andy Halpern on the show. No, it's not.
And on a high.
It's not the final hour forever, although it could be because it is radio. All right, Andy's with us right now on John and Jim. Obviously covering the Padres down there at Petco. We just heard Mike Schilt with the media pregame.
Oh, did we ever? They balled out.
He said that the Padres balled out in the road trip. First of all, Andy, how are you? Thanks for hopping on.
I am doing great. John, little Jimmy, it is great to join you both. And how are you guys today?
You know
what?
Hold on.
I have to be honest.
Hold on. I feel like I'm being set up here. I feel like you
mentioned that,
John and Andy are in on something. What is happening?
Okay, here's what I did earlier.
What? What is happening?
I said, Andy, this is 11:20 a.m. Andy, I hope all is well. Any chance you can join me and Jimmy? And then I put in parentheses, he hates that nickname. Today at 4:35 or 5:30. Always appreciate it. Hi, John. I will join you and little Jimmy.
Oh, boy.
And then I wrote back, Jimmy, it has to be little Jimmy, because Jimmy's so little Jimmy,
Wow. Well, so there goes.
There it is.
That's great.
John,
thanks for joining us,
Jimmy.
Andy. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next. No,
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Wow. Little Jimmy. All right.
Little Jimmy. I like that. Okay, Andy, here's my question, because you've covered the Padres for a long time and you've been around teams at deadlines. So that's my question here. What is the feeling around a team heading into this time of year when you're just a day or two or three away and you might be adding and you may be subtracting? What's that like for a team as it deals with that part of the season?
Yeah, I think it can really affect a clubhouse if you let it. But this is a team that is very Schilt-driven in the sense of we're just going to focus on what we can focus on. We're going to control what we can control. And it doesn't matter if we get one guy or we get 20 guys or we get no guys, we have to win. So the feeling right now is more of we need to continue, we being the clubhouse, obviously, we need to continue to win games. We need to continue to climb in the stands. We need to solidify this wild card spot. Whether we get reinforcements or not, we're going to have to figure out a way to do this. So that's kind of the stance that they're taking. However, there is talk amongst them. They were asked, different guys were asked a little bit about Dylan Cease, what's going to happen if he gets traded, or Robert Suarez. So you start getting some of that chatter. Even Jake Cronenworth, you start getting some of that chatter around the clubhouse of, hey, it's a business. We don't want to see anyone go, but sometimes things like that happen. But we hope that we can keep the team intact and that sort of thing. And that continues to ramp up through the deadline, and then depending on who gets dealt, right? I mean, it can be a bummer for a clubhouse, and it can be exciting for a clubhouse at the same time. It can be a lot of bittersweet feelings when something like that happens, especially if they go this route, which is, I think, the hardest route to go when you're a buyer and a seller and you don't have a ton of maybe farm collateral to give, nor maybe a ton of money. You might have to give up some pieces that make your team better. I mean, another team's going to want that, right? They're going to want your good pieces, or at least your semi-good pieces. So it really puts them walking a tightrope, I think, you might get some really good returns, and especially for guys who might be on expiring contracts, but you might also have some holes depending on who you get back in your lineup or in your pitching staff.
All right, Annie, if you were AJ Preller and you're in the situation you are now, and you're looking at, all right, I have to trade one of the pieces that is currently on my major league roster of either Jake Cronenworth or Dylan Cease or Robert Suarez, which route would you go if you were AJ?
I hate this question.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And,
I know.
It is. It's very difficult because it's a hard question to answer. Like, I look at their rotation and I think, how in the world can you trade Dylan Cease? You've got Darvish, where you don't know what his condition is going to be week to week. Michael King, although he had a good outing today and he did his up down and, threw 40 pitches and he's trending back, to coming back and being the pitcher that he was. You just never know, right? If you're going to have a setback or if there's that length of time that he was off. Could be a silver lining for the team in that he's got a fresh arm, but it could also take him a little while to knock that rust off and get back to the guy that, he knows he can be. So Dylan Cease, I understand the desire where it's like he hasn't been having his best year and he's going to be leaving at the end of the year anyways, most likely. You really are giving up kind of a big hole in the starting rotation in terms of like someone that is going to be dependable and who you can at least dream on becoming the guy that maybe he used to be, or at least having some of the flashes that he used to have. I think it's hard, to see that. Robert Suarez, I think, honestly, Jim, to answer your question, I think it'd have to be Robert Suarez. And I say that even begrudgingly because it's hard to find a closer, right? And you can take any of those guys, they're four horsemen. You take those other three horsemen, you can make that guy into the closer role, but you're not always guaranteed that mentally, they're going to be able to execute the way that they need to. There's a different kind of pressure that comes with that. I think that you've got an excellent bullpen, but that bullpen has been tested all year long. And would any of us be super surprised if any of those arms get tired here, or they knock on wood, they haven't had any injuries, but in that bullpen. But you just kind of wonder what the rest of the season's gonna hold. At the same time, I say all this, and it's like, hey, scared money don't make money, right? He's gonna have to pull the trigger somewhere, and you can't hold on to all of these guys as precious gems if you do need to make your team better in some ways. So I'm going to go with my answer as Robert Suarez, but I think it is a really tough question.
It is a tough question. Completely agree with that. Annie Halpern with us right now on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 from Petco Park. We were observing earlier, Annie, just like the level of productivity from Manny Machado. It is amazing how year in and year out, he's like the same player. He's going to maybe hit 300. He's maybe going to hit 30 home runs. He's maybe going to drive in 100. He's in the midst of another remarkable year. What do you make of his consistency? Because he's among the most consistent players in the sport of baseball.
Yeah. I get spoiled by it. I really do. I mean, he makes it look so easy. He kind of goes about things in a very effortless fashion, but he puts the work in. I mean, this guy has his routine down. He's got all of the things that he does at home to take care of his body. And that's also why he thinks he's going to be playing for a long time, because he is ahead of all the technology. If there's new technology or new things that you can do to better rehabilitate or work on your body, he's doing it not just at Petco Park, but he's doing it at his house too. And he's just kind of so even keel, right? I mean, doesn't matter good or bad. He kind of stays the course. We all understand the whole back of the baseball card thing because of him. But what I think is really cool about Manny is we saw it in this last road trip. If he goes on one of these heaters like he's prone to do, where he has, 25, 30, 35 game stretch where he just is really, really hot, he tends to do that in the second half, right? He tends to kind of put the team on his back in the second half. And I think it's going to be fun to watch to see if he can do that. He needs help. I think you can't just expect me to do this alone. He definitely needs some help in that lineup to go where they want to go in the second half. But you can kind of see that, just that switch flip with Manny, where it's like, all right, he knows his body well enough to know, now I'm going to push a little harder. Now it's the second half. Now it's all about making the playoffs. Now we're going to turn it on even a little bit more. So I think that's a really fun thing to watch about him.
If this team made no moves, Annie, which is not going to happen. Like Preller, he can't do that. He's going to make moves. But we were arguing like if they made no moves, I think they still could be a playoff team. Would you agree with that?
No, Jim, absolutely. They have to be. I mean, if they make no moves, you've got to figure it out. And I understand that they have holes in their lineup, and they've got a bottom of the lineup that has some of the worst numbers in the league, or at least they did before this last weekend. They don't have a lot of slug in their lineup. That's really hurting them. But at the same time, you have a top six, a core six, that should be at least able to carry you through stretches where you can at least kind of, go on some heaters, kind of bank some wins. You definitely don't want that black hole to be 7, 8, 9 in your lineup night after night. But you got to figure that you're going to get some production there, and you're not always going to be up with runners in scoring position there anyways. So I think you really got to look at that core six and go, okay, guys, it's your time to shine. You're not all going to be hot at the same time. You're not all going to be like, numbers astronomical at the same time. But somewhere you got to dig deep, and you got to be able to pull this off somehow. This is a lineup that other teams would look at and they would say, what's your problem? What's your problem? You guys have a $211 million payroll or whatever it is now. You're past the second threshold in CBT money. And yes, a lot of that are the contracts that you've already given out, but you gave out those contracts because this team was supposed to be able to do these sorts of things, right? I mean, you're depending on these guys. That's why you gave out those contracts. It is really hard to look at that and go, well, we don't believe in that. I don't think that anyone's going to do that. So I understand the need for reinforcements and to better this lineup where you can. But I also don't think that they have any excuse. I really don't. Like, you got to go out there and you've got to show that these contracts and these long-term deals, are paying off really for this club. And the bottom of the lineup, those guys still have opportunities, right? I mean, you're still playing a big league game, or you're still being paid big league money, so someone's got to dig deep down there in the bottom of the lineup too, even if they get no reinforcement, so I don't think that there's an excuse for them either. I really don't.
Real quick, Annie, for me, final one is just how concerning to you is Yu Darvish? Not the fact that they might push him back a day or whatever it is, but just the way that he's pitched basically since returning.
I think it's concerning. I think you're seeing a guy that is doing everything he can to be out there and to give his team as much as he has. But this isn't the Yu Darvish, I don't think, that we saw last year in the playoffs. I mean, that Yu Darvish, although he missed all that time because of that first issue, and he still was dealing with some elbow stuff last year, it wasn't the same as what he's dealing with this year. He was able to come back and be really dominant in the playoffs. And I don't know that you're going to be able to see that guy this year. At least we don't know that yet. We're just not certain of that yet. So I do think it's concerning. Is he going to be able to last the whole year? Is he going to be able to go at least 5 or 6 innings every time he's out there? Is he going to be able to hold the opponent's runs? I don't know any of those questions. He is working his butt off. I mean, I really think that with Yu Darvish, it's incredible to watch this guy work. It's incredible to watch him go about his routine and about the way that he takes care of his body as well. But I think that for him to be doing all of that and still be in this position where it feels a little touch and go, it's concerning. And I think he would say the same thing, honestly, that, he's not where he wants to be right now. And hopefully he can get there, but that's to be determined for sure.
Okay, so this is what you started, Annie. Our YouTube chat has been spammed with the word little. Another comment here says, oh my gosh, that's the worst thing to be called, Little and Jimmy, but combined is diabolical. He is now forever known as Little Jimmy. Someone else said, change the show name to John and Little Jimmy. So thank you, Annie. I appreciate that.
You know what? I'm going to give you a gift right here. How about Big Jimmy? Big Jimmy sounds more like he came out of prison or something, like Big Jimmy. So,
Big Jim.
Annie,
exactly.
I love it.
I'm going to give you that gift right there.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, Annie. Thanks for hopping on. We'll do it again soon, and appreciate you taking time for us.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Anytime. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, Annie Halpern. You heard that? Anytime.
Yeah, Calvin in the chat says, nope, Little Jimmer.
Little Jimmer. Little
Jimmy's
Jimmer.
third, Prison Jim.
Kevin Acee will join us coming up in 15 minutes. We're going to hear from Manny Machado on the impending trade deadline on the other side. Kevin at 5:30. Jim's back page ahead. John and Jim. Kevin AC on the upcoming trade deadline in 11 minutes. We all remember that one teacher made a difference, who believed in us, challenged us, or just made learning fun. Now's your chance to say thank you in a big way. With iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose, nominate an outstanding public school teacher who's gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
I'm sure Manny Machado is pumped about the trade deadline, right?
He's very pumped. Now, could he be on the move? All right. So I give Marty credit for asking.
Well, look,
I give her
this
credit.
is not even like what's the word I'm looking for? It's not it's a low-hanging fruit question, but it's also the question that needs to be asked, because this is the time of year when you ask this question.
I know, but Manny's so locked in. He doesn't want to deal with anything. It's Manny.
It's not like you're asking this question to Jake Cronenworth. You're asking this question to Manny Machado.
Because you're saying he's not going anywhere, but Jake could be on the move, so it's kind of weird to ask it to Jake.
Well, that also, it's Manny Machado. He's the leader of this team. He's the best player on this team. He's the captain of this team.
Right.
Like, you ask the captain and the leader of this team this question.
Leave the question on when you pull it up.
Yeah, that's not what I'm cutting out.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I got you.
Oh, yeah, he did curse.
He cursed.
But
that's one curse.
Yeah, man, Marty asked the right questions. She always does.
Yeah, I was saying I wouldn't ask it because I know he'd just bite my head off.
But still, that's why. I mean, you ask the question,
right?
Even you ask the question, even sometimes if you know the answer. Sometimes, not all.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely.
But because you have to ask. But it's because you have to ask the question, and you have to, what's their response going to be to the easiest question to answer ever?
Let's hear from Manny.
It's the trade deadline week, and AJ Preller is your GM.
What about it?
What is it like? I mean, what is it like just chasing the rumors, not knowing what's going to happen? That you
look, better take that right there. Look, that's my guy today. That's what I got to worry about tonight. That's the only thing I got to worry about is trying to beat that guy tonight. And that's the only thing that's important.
He's not going to be like, hey, listen, we need an upgrade at catcher. Let's be honest.
I think
don't
he
want to
was
say it to their face, but we need an upgrade.
So he took Marty's camera and then
pointed it
towards the television. I believe Frankie Montas, who's a starting pitcher tonight for the
that's
Mets.
what he pointed to.
Yeah, which is interesting. He's got a 4.62 ERA and 5 starts this season.
Yeah, he's been a lot like Dylan Cease, right?
Yeah.
He's been kind of had an average handful of starts. I mean, that's what I would have expected out of Manny Machado. I wouldn't expect him to be like, yeah, we got to upgrade the back end. We really do. And we got it. This catching situation is not playing out.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get when you ask Manny. I posted something on Saturday. I do appreciate the transparency. When he was asked about John Jay Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
He held nothing back. I mean, most athletes are not like that anymore. Everyone is so PC. Oh, you know what? I don't want to get into that. Like, that's what most athletes would say. I'm not going to get into that. We'll play it out on field. I'm not going to get it. No, he is so honest, almost to a fault. I respect it, man. He's polarizing. It's rare for a baseball player to be like that. He's so authentic. You just don't get that with players. I'll tell you what, man. If I was in that clubhouse asking Manny Machado questions, I'd be scared for my life. Yeah, he is. He really is. I mean, he's an intimidating type, but that's like to his credit. It's just who he is.
Yeah,
he's had some interesting. I'll tell you, man. He's had some very interesting back and forth with Marty over the years.
100%.
Again, that's where Marty's really good in those settings. She is not scared to ask the question, and he'll bite back, and then she reacts to that.
Yeah, Marty's a pro. She knows what she's doing.
But Manny will do that to a number of reporters. And like the longer I've been around Manny Machado in terms of watching him in a Padres uniform for the last 7 years, the more I kind of appreciate it, truthfully, because you get that from no one else.
When's he going to bark back at Darnay Tripp?
I think it's out of respect when he does it, not to take anything away from Darnay.
I'm just kidding.
But I think when like Kevin, who's with them all year, or Marty, who's been covering him since he got there, is there every game. I just feel like when he gets comfortable with someone, he's more willing to do it.
Yeah. Manny does dunk on Kevin a good amount, but there's also a relationship there behind the scenes and off the record. And it's a very professional relationship that Kevin has. I mean, Manny will dunk on Kevin from time to time, but you know what? Kevin's also one of the only people in town that has gotten the one-on-ones with Manny that he has turned into, these articles that he has written about Manny, even though there was there was a pretty scathing piece on Manny after the 2023 season, which I think was deserved, to be honest with you, 100%. No, nothing was off limits after that year. And he's still in there talking to Manny Machado.
Yeah,
every
which
single
is
day.
A credit to Kevin and to Manny that you can write that type of piece, which he did through source reporting. And I get Manny not liking it, but Manny's in the midst of one of the best seasons of his career. We'll see if he can finish it off. It's as simple as that. He's playing brilliant baseball. He's in the midst of one of the best seasons of his career. We'll see if he can finish it off. And Manny's not overly worried, apparently, about the trade deadline coming up on Thursday. We are, though, and our listeners are, and our viewers. So we're going to ask Kevin Acee about it on the other side. Kevin will join us live from Petco Park on the other side. The latest on the upcoming trade deadline, now less than 72 hours out. Plus, what is now next for you, Darvish? It's believed that he will be pushed back a day. But we'll catch up about everything with Kevin Acee on the other side. We're here until 6 p.m. We have a giveaway, by the way. Maybe we'll do that coming up at 5:45. We have Blues Traveler tickets, Gin Blossoms tickets as well to give away. But Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, joins us next. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres start a 3-game series with the New York Mets tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. One trade to report today. Old friend Chris Paddock was traded from the Twins to the Tigers. And over the weekend, STFC picked up 3 points over with Nashville in a 1-0 victory. How many times have we all said that was easy? Well, the Staples Easy button is back, and it's got everyone saying it again for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos, plus quality products delivered next day to over 98% of the U.S. Staples. That was easy.
All right, we're going to try to connect with Kevin momentarily. His planes, trains, automobiles trip, I think, is over. He's been everywhere over the last 2 weeks, so we'll try to connect with Kevin momentarily. Now still work, question mark? He's calling you right now, Brent. So Kevin Acee will join us shortly. He's been writing extensively about the Padres. It's basically his job.
Oh, I didn't know
He's
that.
been doing it. All right, Kevin Acee is with us. He has been all over this country over the last 2 weeks. And right now, of course, is keeping his eye on the upcoming trade deadline and this Padres Mets series as well. So, Kevin, we always appreciate you joining us here, John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760. As we approach Thursday, do you still believe the most likely outcome remains a mix of buying and selling? Is that appropriate to say that there could be buying along with selling? Is that how you see it over the next 3 days?
I do. I don't know what the remaining options are. I don't know. I really don't know the specifics on that, but I do know where they stand and what other people have said that they're doing. Heck, what people inside have basically indicated that they're trying to do. So yes.
Feels like tonight's Dylan Cease start is very big for multiple reasons. Not like how would you view tonight's start for Dylan Cease?
Yes. So a little bit extra added, sure. But we've been saying this, and I think it's big either way. Look, if another team wants him, yes, people get drunk at the deadline and go off of like one performance or whatever. But if a team that wants him has had people watching him, and they're seeing the same things the Padres are. And now, yeah, if they're on the fence and there's, whatever's happening with that deal, and then if he goes out and he shoves against the Mets, sure, I suppose that could make some big difference. But I think that if he's going to be gone, almost whatever happens here is, he's going, not because the Padres don't think that he can be their guy at the end of the season. It's because that's the best way for them to make things work financially and to get the players they need.
I apologize. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider. I'm just thinking out loud, like, can it be made the argument that if he pitches well tonight, the Mets have won 7 straight. So let's just say he goes 6 innings the last 2 runs. Then his 3 post-All-Star break starts are all encouraging. You'd have that first start, he was really good. Second start, 5 innings, 3 runs, 2 earned is fine. And then if again, it's an if. We'll see how he pitches fine. But if he goes 6 innings, 2 runs or less, then all of a sudden, aren't you hurting your chances for the remainder of the season by trading away a guy that has proven that he can be effective in the second half of the year?
Depending on what they do, right? I would think, unless you make all sorts of machinations that make it worth it for another team, Luis Ariz is unmovable with that contract, right? And those numbers. If Jake Cronenworth, if that's not somebody you want to give up for whatever you're getting, if what you're getting for Dylan Cease allows you to do these other things that you absolutely need, then that's why you're getting rid of Dylan Cease, not because of whatever results told you this. Now, if Dylan Cease had been, as you've said, it would be 3 okay starts. If he'd been that guy all year, guys, I don't know that you're entertaining this. If the entire rotation was healthy, if guys had hit better, I don't know that you're entertaining getting rid of Dylan Cease. The fact is, he has been who he is, and you need help elsewhere, and you don't have the resources to do it unless you sell something off. And that would be why Dylan Cease is going more than, really anything.
What's the updated timetable here now with Michael King after his, up-down sim game start today at Petco?
Yeah, 40 pitches. You would think that that's about as much as you're going to throw in a sim game. It's not like he's going to come out and do 5 innings or like 4 innings, I don't think. So, gosh, we could be looking at a rehab start, but I really don't know. This just happened. They'll want to see how he feels tomorrow. I know that Michael probably has 3 different plans based on, small, medium, large, feel great, feel okay, feel average. He's probably got the plan. He's ready to go. He's going to be pushing them. He'll be up at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Hey, guys, I'm ready to go out for my rehab. So that's good. If he's feeling good. And I could there be another live? Sure. But you go 40 pitches and it's this big production. And if you, are feeling as good as you said, and the stuff was good, like, what are you doing that again? Right? Like, I don't think that's the progression. I think we're talking a couple rehab starts, and then maybe Michael King is right. What are we, a couple days away from August? Maybe Michael King is right. He'll be back before his bobblehead night.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it seems like it could be sooner rather than later, barring setbacks. Kevin Acee from the UT, our Padres insider, with us right now on John and Jim. We talk about the importance of Dylan Cease's start. What about you, Darvish, just to feel good about where you are? It sounds like he'll be pushed back a day. No big deal there. That's completely understandable. But if he goes out Wednesday, Kevin, and looks like he's looked recently, what is that telling AJ Preller less than 24 hours before the deadline? What impact does that have on the Padres?
Yeah, it's just such a tricky one, right? Because, absolutely. If he goes out and looks bad, you're like, okay, like we think, let's say it's still the same, right? And they're like, man, the pitches look good. He's just a little rusty. Okay, fine. All right, that's what you believe. You don't know. And now you're getting closer to where one of the guys that you thought was going to get you to the playoffs and was going to help you in the playoffs, you don't know. So, yeah, that's a huge thing. Now, what if he goes out and has a decent game, right? He goes 5 2/3 and gives up a couple runs. Like, that was that great? I mean, yeah, I think you feel better, obviously, but like, man, I still think this rotation is it's rough. That's why I've started to talk about like creative solutions, right? Like, getting through the postseason if they make it, like the Dodgers did last year with Yamamoto, Flaherty, Buehler, and none of them were great last year. Like, I mean, Flaherty probably their best, right? Like, none of them were great. It was their bullpen and their creativity and their manager making the right moves. They got the Dodgers through through to the World Series last year and the championship. Obviously the trade deadline is going to tell us a lot about what they're thinking about how they can get through the final 2 months and the postseason with the pitching.
What are the chances? We know that Preller's been working the phones nonstop. And we know that if there's a trade that he doesn't like, he might not make it, and he wants to get what he wants to get. I think we can all agree that as this team is constructed right now is probably good enough to make the postseason as is. Is there any chance in any world that they stand pat at the deadline?
I think because of what you said, I think you've watched enough Preller deadlines. Sure. I don't think they stand pat, but like if they end up with a bench bat and a reliever and they're like, yep, we couldn't make anything. We were going to have to mortgage and we didn't like it. Yeah, I absolutely think that could be a possibility. Look, and I wrote this last night, but my newsletter was already like 3,600 words, so I left it out. So probably put in there tonight.
Kevin Acee's our Padres insider. Say that again?
They're flawed. But guess what? They are not the only team. As a matter of fact, you tell me the great team in the National League. Like, you tell me the great team in the National League. Like, they can make the playoffs as is. They can.
Yeah, we were having that conversation. I don't think there's a team in the National League with more than 62 wins.
Yeah, it is a very bunched up National League. Like, you're right, Kevin. The National League does feel kind of wide open this year. Like, at this point in time, things can change. The team could go on a big run here in the National League. But as of right now, the trade deadline, like, it's feels kind of wide open in the National League.
I think your concern would be that then the Reds get Eugenio Suarez, right?
Yeah.
And like the Dodgers add a starting pitcher, right? And like then your concern is, oh wait, but like yes, like, and I don't know if I said this to you guys. You're not. We all act like it. We all get myopic about the team that we cover and their flaws or how great they are. But at this time of year and all that, the flaws. You're not trying to beat the 27 Yankees to get into the playoffs. Okay, you're trying to beat the 2025 Reds, who are deeply flawed, just as flawed as you are. So, well, maybe they have better starting pitching. But like that, and you're just trying to win this year, like the Diamondbacks did in 2023. Like there has been a team to get into the playoffs like every year to do that. That's what you're trying to do.
I guess I think we mentioned this.
Rangers,
to you. What were we saying?
I'm not saying if you want to take, but let's just remember here again, not trying to beat the 27 Yankees.
No, definitely not. Although it would be nice because if they beat the 27 Yankees, they might be winning the World Series this year. So, okay. So in your estimation, we come out of the trade deadline. You think the Padres' salary commitments are similar to where they are right now?
Very, very. I mean, they're up over 220 million when you go all in, the CBT penalties, player bonuses. I mean, they're ninth in the major leagues. Like yes. Could they come up with some more money if it theoretically? Yeah, I mean, sure. Okay. But like I've been told by them, we've already made our trades. That's like a symbolic way to say, like, if you're looking for the big moves, why don't you go ahead and check out our roster, Kevin? So, that's where they're at. And that's why we're talking about Dylan Cease or possibly someone else to go in order to finance.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, I mean, it was Mike Schill today, I think, with the media that said, you're not going to get a bigger acquisition than Michael King,
right.
Which again, some of that makes sense if you are getting back the pitcher that he's been in a Padres uniform. Kevin, excellent reporting. We appreciate you taking time. We know you've been everywhere over the last 2 weeks, so we'll do it again Wednesday, which is about 20 something hours out from the deadline.
Hopefully we're talking about a trade.
Maybe we'll be talking about something on Wednesday that's happening. Yeah. We'll see. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you.
All right, great stuff from Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. The Players Place. We react, plus Jim's back page next. All right, so if you're maxed out on credit cards, you're struggling with high interest debt, you could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey guys, it is Schaefer. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto, it truly is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved. They did it in less than 24 hours, paying off debt and renovating their kitchen and cutting their monthly expenses by $1,800. Just a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pulls up front. Listen, your home equity, it's yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Call now to start the conversation. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. Get debt relief now at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, unapproved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Join us tonight following Padres Mets game 1. Oh, yeah, on field the Padres are playing. We'll see if they can make it 3 straight wins, snap that Mets 7-game win streak. 6:40 first pitch again, wrap-up show post-game. And then we're back here tomorrow, of course, at 2 p.m. Reacting to it all, Jim, one day closer to the deadline.
I feel like the moves that AJ will make, closer we get, are just going to happen on deadline day. It's either going to happen Wednesday night.
Right.
Wednesday. Yeah, it's going to happen sometime Wednesday or right at the deadline.
Remember, if he makes no trades,
I'm wrong.
I will wear my clothes backwards. And that's how confident I am. He will definitely be making multiple trades. We will hear something. Something will be clear as day obvious by Wednesday at some point. His first trade will not be Thursday. Those are my two. Feel very confident. Definitely a trade's happening, and the first one we get by Wednesday at the latest.
Kevin has said from the beginning, like months ago, maybe like a month ago, well, not months ago, but a month ago, like I wouldn't expect any big time trades this year, guys. Like the money commitments that they already have, as you just said there, like that's set, and they're not budging. They're not adding. Now they'll subtract. But if they subtract, then they're going to have to add to replace. Like, so they're not going to be adding like a bunch of money at the deadline. And there's some players out there that will you'll have to add a bunch of money at the deadline for.
Well, that's where Dylan Cease and that type of player comes into the conversation.
So if they don't trade Dylan Cease,
then maybe they trade Robert Suarez, who ESPN has it a 50% chance. But I see what you're saying. If they don't trade any of them,
then they might trade for a guy that's making $1 million right now, if there's even that guy out there.
Well, $1 million for the remainder of the year is a $3 million salary, but your point is valid. You know what I mean? Someone that makes 3.8 is owed like 1.
Yeah, it's like some
1.2,
like bench piece to replace Trent Brooks.
Exactly. Call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see Blues Traveler and Gin Blossoms with special guest Spin Doctors. Gallagher Square, Petco Park, Saturday, August 16th. Third caller, you're going. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. 877-767-4760. And right now, let's get to this.
All right, it's a Monday, so that means it's Crumble Cookie Monday here on John and Jim. The Crumble Cookies of the week. These are good ones. Cookies and cream tres leches cake. Dude, sounds amazing. Chocolate strawberry cheesecake, which is a new item. Love me some cheesecake. A peanut butter crisp cookie featuring Butterfinger.
Oh, it sounds incredible.
Then we have a lemon bar cookie. A snickerdoodle skillet cookie. I love me some snickerdoodles. I was at
so good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. A cake batter cookie and a double chocolate chip cookie. What?
Let's go get them all. Now we can have a little piece of all of them.
I need to bring in, maybe next week, I need to bring in Crumble Cookie to the studio so we can try it during Crumble Cookie Monday.
Did you say tomorrow? Oh, Crumble Cookie Monday. I like it.
Yeah. Because these are the crumble cookies of the week. These look delicious. And it would take minimum 3 people to finish all these cookies, maybe more. Because
if you see, and Brent might be able to put them down.
Brent would probably be able to put them down. You're right. He would absolutely be able to put them down. Moving on here. By the way, side note, I know you don't watch movies, but you do have Netflix.
I do.
And you've heard of Happy Gilmore.
Of course.
You've
seen it.
You've seen Happy Gilmore 1, right?
Probably. Golf.
Yeah, everybody's seen Happy Gilmore.
Yep.
Or at least bits and pieces of Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So last Friday, Happy Gilmore 2 released on Netflix after almost 30 years. Okay. And it became the #1 movie on Netflix. It was the talk of social media as far as the movies go on Netflix. And I watched it over the weekend. The best way I could describe it is it's the best, absolute worst movie I have ever seen in my entire life.
I knew that's how it was going to be. I honestly knew that's how it was going to be. That's why I don't have I will watch stuff on Netflix. I don't have a strong desire to see it.
They made a choice within the first 5 minutes of the movie. You're like, what are they doing?
This is the path they're following.
And then the second half of the movie, I'm like, okay, this has gone off the rails completely here. You think our show goes off the rails? This movie went so far off the rails.
That would be my expectation. It probably wasn't supposed to win like a Academy Award.
No, it was a cameo fest for sure. Every 2 seconds there was a different cameo. Every single character was a cameo almost. There was a bunch of professional golfers like like Scotty Scheffler, Rory, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau. Like they played big roles in this movie.
Did you count them as cameos?
No, I said they count them as big roles. I thought they had big roles in this movie.
See, I count. Well, I did too, but I still counted the golfers as cameos
because I
didn't know who they were.
And then there's a couple. I mean, there's some funny moments in the movie. It's also very campy. But if you like think of a random celebrity, they're probably in this movie.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
It was like I said, I told Brent and I said this to John. Not Brent, you weren't listening, but it's the best, worst movie I've ever seen.
Well, you could say that about 80% of Adam Sandler movies.
Oh, for sure. I think
that's why I thought it was funny that over the weekend. It's like there was people that were complaining. They did the same thing with Deadpool. It's like
it's campy.
You guys
it's supposed to be stupid.
You're talking about an Adam Sandler movie like it's some sort of Al Pacino Oscar bait movie. It's an Adam Sandler movie. Yeah. It's supposed to be dumb, but it's going to be dumb funny.
Is Xander Schauffele in it?
Yes.
Okay, then
he actually has a really good moment in that in the movie.
Then I'll watch it.
I was going to text you, but I knew you weren't going to like run to your television to watch it.
I wasn't.
But there is a moment in the movie with Xander Schauffele that's actually pretty funny.
Is Guy Fieri in it?
100%.
Then I'll see it.
But you just looked it up. Huh?
No, but someone said the Aztec ties. It's just like there's so many cameos. You have Guy Fieri, whose son is a manager for San Diego State basketball, and then you have Xander.
Yeah. So it's a cameo fest, and it rose to the #1 movie on Netflix, and even Taylor Swift put it on her Instagram. Like she put
her husband's in.
And she said it was. She goes, "It's the funniest movie I've ever seen. 13 out of 10. Go watch it right now." So. If you're Adam Sandler, you're like,
yeah,
got the Swifties.
Okay, I like it. I mean, there's got to be a zillion people that have seen it.
And finally, a stormtrooper helmet, John. Do you even know what that is?
Yeah, the Star Wars guy.
Good job.
The main character.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Dude with like the gun. Right?
The main character. You could argue that some could argue that the real main character of Star Wars is a stormtrooper. Anyway, a stormtrooper helmet prop from Star Wars A New Hope. So that's the very first movie that ever came out of Star Wars.
Okay.
Sold at an auction for $256,000.
256 grand.
I said yes.
Yeah,
256 grand.
Mm-hmm.
For a stormtrooper helmet from the original Star Wars A New Hope.
That's not bad. But wouldn't there be a lot of those helmets?
Probably not, because it's been so long that they've probably been lost or damaged, and
yeah. So anyway, if you wanted a stormtrooper helmet from the original movie, I hope you have about $300,000 on in your back pocket.
I'm good.
Yeah. Finally, Wendy's is releasing a new Wednesday themed meal. The Wendy limited edition meal called Wednesday Wendy themed meal. It doesn't say. Launches on August 4th in the US. It's a 10-piece chicken nugget, small fries, a dark cherry Raven's Blood Frosty, and 2 mystery dips of dread sauces with hot, sweet, and spooky flavors.
Okay. The reason I say, by the way, Eugenio Suarez, the #1 trade prospect on the market, may have just broke his hand.
Oh my goodness.
He was hit square flush with a fastball on his hand.
So you weren't listening to me.
Nobody cares about the Wendy's deal. Maybe look at this. Look at this. Wow. If he didn't break his hand, he's lucky.
Oh, well, we said that about Tatis.
He'll be fortunate if he didn't. If he didn't break his hand, he'll be dealt. If he did, he's going to stick around with the Diamondbacks for the next couple of months. All right, join us tonight for a wrap-up show. Back tomorrow at 2 p.m. to react to it all. Trade deadline's coming. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here. This is San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Bye-bye.